Chapter 502. Lion Rock Film and Television Base, the former site of Fane Temple. The set, which had been quiet for a few days, became lively again. The tarpaulin covering the props was pulled away, and expensive high-definition digital cameras were set up again. Sound recording, lighting, art, makeup. The crew members all seemed to have been injected with chicken blood, and they were all busy in high spirits. A Chinese ghost story was being red-hot. Ever since the opening ceremony of this movie, the mood of the crew members had been on a roller coaster. At one time, everyone was in a panic and thought that they were going to be dismissed. Now that the clouds had cleared, everyone was naturally happy. Nowadays, the competition in Xinjiang's film and television industry was extremely fierce, but the market share did not increase. Many people in the industry could not find suitable jobs, so they had no choice but to change careers or go to the mainland Taiwan, Japan, and Korea to find opportunities. It was undoubtedly very difficult to change careers after being used to a familiar job, and the road outside was even more difficult when people were away from home. Therefore, everyone cherished their current job opportunities. Most importantly, as the main investor of the film, Lu Chan was kind and generous, so they would not suffer losses working with him. Therefore, when faced with the pressure from Honghua, they all persisted and did not choose to quit. Their choice was undoubtedly correct. When they received the notice of the reshoot in the morning, everyone rushed to the set as soon as possible. Without Chan Wenxiang's command, they took the initiative to complete the work before the reshoot. When Lu Chan arrived at the Fane Temple set with Chan Fei, it was already a boiling cauldron of voices. The atmosphere was excellent. "This is my girlfriend." Lu Chan first introduced Chan Fei to Chan Wenxiang. "This is Mr. Chan Wenxiang, the director of the studio." "Hello, Uncle Chang." Chan Fei generously extended her hand to Chan Wenxiang. "Lu Chan told me about you several times. Thanks to your help, he can stand firm in Xinjiang." Chan Wenxiang was flattered. He quickly shook hands with Chan Fei and said, "You flatter me." "Hello, Miss Chan Fei. I've heard a lot about you. Young Master Lu is really lucky." Of course, he knew that Lu Chen's girlfriend was the famous heavenly queen Chan Fei. As one of the few mainland stars who were popular in Xinjiang, Chan Fei's news could occasionally be seen in Xinjiang's newspapers and magazines. However, the photos in the newspapers and magazines didn't capture Chan Fei's true charm at all. She didn't wear any makeup, and her beauty was natural. Every frown and smile of hers had a peerless beauty that could topple cities. She was truly dazzling. Xinjiang was a place that produced beauties. Every year, there would be many outstanding beauties in the Miss Hong Kong and Miss Asia selection. However, Chan Wenxiang felt that those Hong Kong sisters and Asian sisters that he had seen before were lacking in something compared to Chan Fei. Wan Shaoquan and Chan Fei knew each other, so they exchanged pleasantries when they met. Wan Shaoquan said jokingly, "Since you're already here, why don't you make a cameo in the movie?" Chan Fei and Lu Chan looked at each other. The latter smiled and said, "Director Wan, I'm going to let Fei play the role of Granny Dryad." "What?" Wan Shaoquan and Chan Wenxiang asked in unison. "Play the role of Granny Dryad." The role of Granny Dryad in a Chinese ghost story was a big villain. Her image was set to be cruel and vicious, and she was full of demonic aura. That was why Lu Jiahui had been asked to disguise himself as a woman to play this role. Lu Jiahui had quit the cast, and Chan Wenxiang was still having a headache over the replacement. This was because this role had very high requirements for the actor's temperament and acting skills. Otherwise, it would be easy for the actor to act out of place. Now that Chan Fei was actually going to play the role of Granny Dryad, how could the two of them not be surprised? Chan Fei pursed her lips and smiled. "I want to challenge myself." This was undoubtedly a very strong reason. Lu Chan had seriously thought about it on the way here. "This is what Fei requested. I think it's fine. The main thing is to modify the settings and put more effort into the special effects makeup. The effect will definitely not be bad." His original setting for Granny Dryad was based on the original version in the dream world. Now that Chan Fei was going to play the role, he definitely could not follow the original version. He had to make targeted changes. Wan Shaoquan thought about it and said decisively, "Let's give it a try then." He had thought it through very clearly. First of all, Lu Chen's request could not be rejected. Secondly, Chan Fei joining a Chinese ghost story to play the villain, the big boss. That was undoubtedly an excellent publicity stunt, and would be very helpful in increasing the domestic box office. Finally, Chun Fei playing the role of Granny Dryad could make the style of the movie more diverse. Since Lu Chan and Wan Xiaoquan had no objections, Chun Wenqiang naturally did not have any objections. As they were talking, another group of people entered the set. The person walking at the front was Nie Mingzhu. When she saw Chun Fei standing beside Lu Chan, a look of surprise flashed in her eyes. Then she quickly walked over. Young Master Lu, Director Wan, Uncle Chang. Nie Mingzhu greeted Lu Chan and the others one by one. Finally, her gaze landed on Chun Fei. This must be Sister Chun Fei, right? Lu Chan quickly introduced. This is Miss Nie Mingzhu. She will play Nie Xiaoqian. Chun Fei suddenly understood. She smiled and extended her hand to her. Miss Nie. Nice to meet you. It's my honor. Nie Mingzhu said with a smile. You can just call me Mingzhu. I'm a fan of yours. I asked a friend in the mainland to buy 10 sets of your Woman Flower album for my collection. These songs are really nice. Her cheerful appearance was completely devoid of her usual cold and reserved demeanor. She was no different from an ordinary female fan who had met her idol. Her joy came from the bottom of her heart. To be honest, it was impossible for Chun Fei not to feel the slightest bit jealous when she saw that Lu Chan had found such a beautiful female lead. However, when she saw that the other party was not shrewd at all, she felt relieved. Thank you, Sister Mingzhu. As soon as they met, the two of them became familiar with each other and talked intimately. Their topic quickly changed from the role of the actors in the crew to the maintenance of makeup, bags, and other aspects. There was really a lot to talk about. Lu Chan was happy with this. He asked Chun Wenqiang to gather all the staff members of the crew together. After everyone was present, Lu Chan announced 3 things. First of all, the official filming of A Chinese Ghost Story had been resumed. All the problems that had occurred before had been resolved. Second, the mainland's heavenly queen, Miss Chun Fei, had joined the cast to play the role of Granny Tree Spirit. Finally, after A Chinese Ghost Story was released, Lu Chan's studio would take out 10% of the box office profits as a bonus and reward it to all the members of the crew according to their contribution. When Lu Chan announced something, the crew members responded with warm applause and cheers. In the end, the applause and cheers almost blew the roof off. With such an atmosphere and momentum, if they still could not film A Chinese Ghost Story, well, it would really be a sin. Chapter 503. Chun Fei joining A Chinese Ghost Story was undoubtedly good news for the crew. By now, even the handymen and logistics workers in the crew knew the background of Lu Chan, the film's investor and male lead. They also knew how popular he was in the mainland. For a movie, the popularity of the lead was undoubtedly a guarantee of the box office. Take Hong Kong's movies for example. Lu Gangsheng had made several bad movies, but these bad movies still sold well because fans were willing to support them. Now that another Heavenly Queen-level female star has joined the cast, the local box office of Hong Kong is unpredictable, but it is estimated that the big market in the mainland will not be bad. It should be known that Lu Chan and Chun Fei are the famous golden couple partner in the mainland entertainment industry. For these crew members, being able to participate in the production of a popular movie, regardless of the specific remuneration, the qualifications alone were very precious, and their voices in the circle would be much louder. What's more, Lu Chan had generously taken out 10% of the box office profits as a bonus. The morale of the crew instantly reached the maximum. A new shooting plan was quickly brought out. The stylists and makeup artists of Jiang Pictures worked overnight to redesign the image of Grandma Tree and create it perfectly on Chun Fei. The new boss combined Chun Fei's own characteristics. She was beautiful and enchanting with a hint of ruthlessness. Her heavy gold makeup and gorgeous clothes formed a sharp contrast with Nie Xiaoqian, who was as pure as water in a white dress. In Lu Chen's opinion, Chun Fei's role as Grandma Tree was undoubtedly more attractive than the classic character in the original version in his memory, whether it was in terms of image or temperament. Could be said that it was full of highlights. Chun Fei also felt good. After finishing the makeup, he specially asked his assistant to take a photo of himself and asked the crew's art designers to slightly retouch it before posting it on his blog. The content of the blog post was very simple. What do you think of my character in A Chinese Ghost Story? This informal makeup photo appeared on Chun Fei's blog, and immediately attracted the attention of countless fans. Some were surprised, screaming, complaining, asking. The number of clicks and comments flooded the page. Ah, what am I doing? A Chinese ghost story? Isn't it the movie I shot in Xiangjiang this morning? I am going to be a guest star too? This is too demonic. I can't believe this is my Faye. This can't be the female lead, right? I've read strange stories from a Chinese studio, and yes, Xiaoqian wouldn't look like this. It's time to guess the riddle. May I know who Faye is playing? Someone guessed correctly. Could it be the antagonist Tree Demon? No way. Chen Feier posted a photo of himself without giving any explanation. He left the fans with countless puzzles. Actually, this was a very clever marketing method. It deliberately left everyone in suspense and let the fans discuss it. Invisibly, it would promote the movie, A Chinese Ghost Story. Of course, only a big shot like her, who had tens of millions of fans on her blog, could play this game well. Otherwise, if she was not popular and only had zombie fans, the number of comments would be very few. She would only be asking to be humiliated. As Chen Feier's vacation time was limited, in the following days, the entire crew would film around her and finish all the scenes involving her first. At this time, it showed the maturity and strength of the Xiangjiang film industry. Probably in order to make up for their previous mistakes, Jiang Pictures had sent all their elites over, increasing the number of people in the crew to more than 150. In several important parts, they had also hired professional experts in the industry. They were nervous but orderly, busy but not chaotic. With the cooperation of Chen Wanchang and the director of Jiang Pictures, the entire crew was like a tightly wound machine, working against time. During the most prosperous period of the Xiangjiang film industry, many film companies shot low-budget movies. They could produce a new film in a few weeks. Although there were many shoddy productions, the efficiency was undoubtedly very high. Although the current Xiangjiang movies were already declining, this kind of efficiency had been continued. Except for a few directors who were very individualistic, most of the Xiangjiang directors were experts in making movies with high efficiency. The characteristics of the directors affected the crew, and even the professionals in the Xiangjiang industry were used to working overtime. Everyone worked together to make up for the lost time. Lu Chun was also very busy. Not only did he have to work on the crew, but he also had a lot of things to do outside the crew. For example, attending Jiang Chenghua's apology banquet. The third young master of the Jiang family, and the boss of Honghua, held a banquet at the famous Hentang Hotel in Xiangjiang. He invited Lu Zhenghao, a senior in the circle, to act as a mediator and Zhou Yi as a witness. It could be said that he had given enough face. According to the words of the circle, Jiang Changhua almost kowtowed to the ground. Therefore, Lu Chun must attend in person. Otherwise, it would mean that he would fight to the death with the other party, which was more ruthless than slapping his face. Of course, he would not attend the banquet alone. Li Mubai, his assistant Zhang Xiaofang, and Wan Yong would go with him. The four of them were neither too many nor too few. If there were too few, they would appear weak. If there were too many, they would appear to lack confidence. Although the apology banquet was not a hongmen banquet, there were also many rules. As for Chen Feier, she was not suitable to attend such a banquet, so Lu Chun did not bring her. The Hentang Hotel was located in the prime area of the Mid-Mountain area, adjacent to the Central Business District. This five-star hotel, built in the 1990s, used to be one of the tallest buildings in Xiangjiang. The investor invited a famous German designer to design it. Now, it was not inferior to the surrounding high-rise buildings. When the car arrived at the hotel, Lu Chun got out of the car and entered the lobby. He saw Zhou Yi waiting in the lobby. He was very surprised. "Boss Zhou, why are you here?" Zhou Yi said seriously. "I'm waiting for you. We're together. Of course, we have to go up together." Lu Chun was speechless. "Boss Zhou, you're making me so embarrassed." He knew that this was Zhou Yi's determination to stand with him. Lu Chun really admired this Xiangjiang businessman. He could take it easy and let it go. In the face of benefits, he did not care about his face. He was really smooth and slick. No wonder he could build such a big family business from scratch. Zhou Yi said with a smile, "Actually, I've just arrived and I'm not familiar with Jiang Changhua. It's more appropriate for me to wait for you to come." He keenly noticed Li Mubai standing beside Lu Chun. He asked curiously, "This is Lu Chun briefly introduced him. This is my friend Li Mubai. He just came from the mainland. Zhou Yi's eyes suddenly lit up. He took half a step forward and took the initiative to extend his hand to Li Mubai. Hello, Mr. Li. Li Mubai smiled faintly and shook hands with him. Hello, Boss Zhou. A thoughtful look flashed in Zhou Yi's eyes. He immediately recovered his smile. Then let's go up. They took the elevator and went straight to the floor where the banquet was booked. Chapter 504. Jiang Changhua stood at the entrance of the banquet hall, waiting for Lu Chan. The banquet hall he booked at the Hentang Hotel was called the Crane Hall. This hall with an area of more than 100 square meters was very famous in the circle. The name Crane Hall was taken from the poem Thousands of Years Old Cranes Still Have Regrets. How can a year of people be heartless? But later it was homophoned as Harmony is Precious. Harmony is precious. Therefore, the Crane Hall became the place of choice for many high-level people in the circle to negotiate, and the circle here referred to the circle of Jianghu in Hong Kong. Jiang Changhua was a person of status. Even if he apologized, he would not humbly wait at the entrance of the hotel. But after hearing the news of Lu Chen's arrival, he still sat at the table, which was not sincere. And beside him, there was a white-haired old man with a ruddy face. When Lu Chan and the others came to the door of the Crane Hall under the guidance of the waiter, the two immediately looked at each other. This was the first time Lu Chan saw Jiang Changhua. Jiang Changhua looked about 30 years old, with regular facial features and quite manly, but his thick black eyebrows made him look slightly fierce, and his bright eyes left a deep impression. He took the initiative to greet Lu Chan, and with a smile on his face, he stretched out his hand and said, "This must be young Master Lu? I'm Jiang Changhua. I've heard a lot about young Master Lu. It's my honor to take the time to come." If others didn't know, they would think that Jiang Changhua was an admirer of Lu Chan. Lu Chan shook hands with him calmly and said, "Mr. Jiang, you're too polite." This was how social occasions were. Even if both sides wanted to pull out a knife to kill each other, they would still be polite on the surface, as if they were very harmonious. If you didn't learn this, you wouldn't be able to survive in this circle. The current Jianghu was not the Jianghu of the past. Jiang Changhua had a very special feeling. Jiang Changhua had seen Lu Chen's information, but the photos were completely different from the real person. Lu Chen was young beyond imagination. He was tall and handsome, and had the temperament of a star idol, but his speech and behavior were steady like a veteran. He was neither humble nor arrogant nor impatient, as if everything was under his control, and his whole body was full of maturity and confidence. Jiang Changhua had never seen such a young man before. He wondered if he had known Lu Chan long ago. Would he have listened to others' instigation to deal with Lu Chen? After all, Jiang Changhua was not an ordinary person. He quickly came back to his senses. He introduced the white-haired elder to Lu Chan. "This is Lu Zhenghao, my senior." Lu Chan hastily cupped his hands in greeting. Junior Lu Chan greets Fifth Lord. He had heard from Zhou Yi that Fifth Lord Lu was a legendary figure in the circle. He was one of the leaders of the Hong sect and had many disciples. He had a wide network of friends in Hong Kong and had friends from all walks of life. Interestingly, Lu Zhenghao chose to retire before the storm of the Hong Kong government's crackdown on the Triad organization. Coupled with the fact that he had no criminal record, he escaped unscathed. Later, Lu Zhenghao had been living in seclusion in the old house halfway up the mountain. Although he had retired from Jianghu, he still had a very high reputation and prestige in the circle. Even now, his words still carried considerable weight. However, in recent years, Lu Zhenghao was getting old and did not like to be active and meddle in other people's business. Jiang Changhua must have paid a high price to be able to invite this master. Lu Zhenghao was wearing an ancient silk shirt and black cloth shoes. His hair and beard were all white, and he looked like a sage. He cupped his hands in greeting and said, "Hearing about you is not as good as meeting you in person. Young Master Lu is indeed a talent. You have come to Hong Kong, and you have surpassed all the young people in Hong Kong." Everyone laughed, and the atmosphere was quite harmonious. Lu Chan smiled and said, "Fifth Lord, you flatter me." Lu Zhenghao waved his hand and said, "Let's talk inside." So everyone entered the hall and sat down according to the position of host and guest. Lu Zhenghao naturally sat at the head of the table. After sitting down, Lu Zhenghao curiously looked at Lu Chen's companions and said, "Young Master Lu, these are?" Lu Chen hurriedly introduced, "This is my assistant Zhang Xiaofeng and this is my assistant Wan Yong." When Lu Chen introduced Zhang Xiaofeng, Lu Zhenghao just nodded his head to show that he knew, but when he introduced Wan Yong, his eyes narrowed and his expression became serious. "So this is the Lu family's class leader who is famous in Hong Kong. He is a real man." Previously, when Honghua's people surrounded the set, Wan Yong led his people to guard the gate to prevent them from entering. He persisted until Lu Chen returned, and then led his people to kill Honghua's henchmen. He single-handedly put down 4 or 5 gangsters, and his performance was even more eye-catching than Lu Chen's. At that time, the scene was captured by the paparazzi on the scene, and the video was quickly posted on the internet. Therefore, inadvertently, the Lu family class became famous, and their identity and origin were revealed by the people in the crew. As the head of the Lu family class, Wan Yong actually had a lot of fans on the internet. His burly and strong body, superb skills, and cold and fierce appearance all became the focus of heated discussion, reminding many people of the Big Circle gang that once ran amok in Hong Kong. Although the Big Circle gang was notorious back then, there were a lot of young people in Hong Kong who worshipped and respected them. Therefore, it was not surprising that Lu Zhenghao knew Wan Yong. Wan Yong was not good at socializing, and for Lu Zhenghao's praise he forced a smile and said, "Thank you." Lu Zhenghao did not care, he had seen similar people before, and knew that the other party just did not like to talk. Zhang Changhua took another look at Wan Yong. He knew that Wan Yong was a retired soldier, and the whole Lu family class was. If he had known this, he would have been much more cautious. At least he would not have casually let his subordinates do things that he did not pay attention to. But now he had to hold a feast to apologize, which made him lose face. Lu Chen finally introduced Li Mubai. "This is my good friend Li Mubai." Li Mubai smiled and imitated Lu Chen's manner of cupping one hand in the other before his chest and said, "Hello, both of you." Lu Zhenghao was a little unhappy, feeling that this young man was not polite, but Zhang Qinghua's face suddenly changed, looking at the other party with a very complicated expression. Li Mubai, surnamed Li. It was said that the person who caused trouble in the Zhang family's 2 big factories in the mainland was related to a certain surnamed Li. Even his father could not find out more inside information, only knowing that the other party was a high-level figure in the mainland. Surnamed Li, and also a good friend of Lu Chen, Li Mubai's identity was obvious, and he came to this apology feast with him. Zhang Changhua felt a dull pain in his testicles. He thought he was smart all his life, but he actually rashly picked a fight without knowing the details of his opponent. This failure was really asking for humiliation, and he had lost all his face. Since he lost, he had to admit it, but Zhang Changhua did not intend to bear it alone. Compared to Lu Chen, he actually hated another person more. Chapter 505. After guessing Li Mubai's origin, Zhang Changhua not only had a headache, but his head hurt even more. He has been wearing a dark gray hat. Even after Lu Chen and others came, he didn't take it off. It's not that Zhang Changhua doesn't understand social etiquette, nor is it that he is arrogant, but the hat covers the bandage wrapped around his head. Zhang Tai's ashtray hit was very heavy. Not only did it break Zhang Qinghua's head, but it also caused a slight fracture of his skull and a concussion. If it weren't for the wine to apologize, he would probably still be in the hospital. Therefore, Zhang Changhua understood very well how angry his father was at that time. The root cause was probably this mischievous playboy in front of him. After knowing the identity of Li Mubai, Zhang Qinghua's attitude became even more polite and cautious. He swallowed a mouthful of bitterness, stood up, picked up the teapot on the table, and slowly poured a cup of hot tea. Then this arrogant child of the Zhang family brought the tea to Lu Chen with both hands and said, "Young Master Lu, I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I hope young Master Lu can forgive me for my previous offense." This cup of tea was very particular. It represented Zhang Qinghua's most formal attitude of apology, which was equivalent to spreading his face on the ground. It depended on how Lu Chen would respond. If Lu Chen wasn't satisfied and refused this cup of tea, it would be equivalent to stepping on Zhang Qinghua's face, and the two sides would fight to the death. Of course, the premise was that Zhang Changhua had the strength to fight to the death. Otherwise, he would certainly lose his face and would no longer be able to survive. Lu Chun pondered for a moment. Previously, Jiang Qinghua's Honghua had caused so much trouble for him, and the shooting of the crew had to be interrupted. If he simply forgave the other party, then he would undoubtedly be degrading himself. Li Mubai snorted and tapped his fingers on the table. He said in a strange tone, "Just a cup of tea and it's over? How can there be such a good thing in the world? Next time I go to Fuyuan and Pengfei factory and throw 2 dead dogs, at most I'll just pour a cup of tea." Jiang Qinghua's heart trembled. He finally confirmed Li Mubai's identity. Fuyuan and Pengfei were 2 large factories that the Jiang Group had invested in and built in the mainland. Currently, they were being investigated by the tax and environmental protection departments, causing Jiang Tai to be badly battered. Jiang Qinghua hurriedly smiled apologetically and said, "Li Xiao's words are too serious. I have also prepared a gift as an apology." He winked, and the assistant standing behind him immediately presented a thin envelope to Lu Chan. Jiang Qinghua said, "This is just a small apology. Please accept it, young Master Lu." Lu Chun looked at Li Mubai, and the latter nodded slightly. He then opened the envelope on the spot. Inside the envelope was a check from a bank in China for 10 million yuan. In order to fight back against Honghua, Lu Chun had donated 5 million yuan to the Little Pet Foundation. Jiang Qinghua must have known that, so he was now taking out double the amount to apologize, which was very sincere. At this time Lu Zhenghao said, "Young Master Lu, this time it was Xiao Zhang's fault, but he was also deceived and encouraged, so let's be harmonious and make money." Lu Chen's eyes flashed. He put the check back into the envelope and gave it to Zhang Xiaofeng to put away. He smiled faintly and said, "Since Fifth Master has said so, I will definitely give him face and let this matter go." With that, he took the teacup from Jiang Qinghua's hand. Lu Chun took the tea from Jiang Qinghua, and the atmosphere in the hall suddenly relaxed. Lu Zhenghao, Zhou and the others all had smiles on their faces. As Lu Zhenghao said, being harmonious and making money was the only way to make money. It was not the 70s and 80s anymore, and the old ways of fighting and killing were no longer feasible. Lu Chun sipped the tea in his cup, put down the teacup and said, But. Jiang Qinghua's face suddenly froze. What he was most worried about was that Lu Chun would be unforgiving and ask for more. Lu Chun continued, "But I'm curious, who on earth is deceiving and encouraging Mr. Jiang?" Lu Chun stared at him with bright eyes. Jiang Qinghua, on the other hand, breathed a big sigh of relief and said with a wry smile, "This matter is also shameful, but since young Master Lu wants to know, I will naturally tell you everything I know." In fact, even if Lu Chun did not ask, he would have taken the initiative to tell him. Jiang Qinghua was born in a rich and powerful family. It could be said that he had been living in luxury since he was a child, and his life had been smooth sailing. Even after he became independent, he had never suffered any losses in the business world. This time, he had suffered a particularly heavy and severe setback. Because of this, he hated the person who encouraged him to deal with Lu Chun the most. This person was not an ordinary person but Cui Xingxian, the head of Huaguan Pictures. Huaguan Pictures was one of the top 10 film companies in China, and it was a subsidiary of Huaguan Entertainment Group. The current general manager, Cui Xingxian, was in his early 30s, and he was a young man in the mainland film and television circle. The common characteristic of young men was that they were ambitious. Cui Xingxian had always been unwilling to be lonely. This time, the Hong Kong government and the State Administration of Radio, Film and Television issued a new film support policy, and he saw an opportunity. As soon as the news came out in the industry, Huaguan Pictures took the lead in setting up a branch in Hong Kong, and Cui Xingxian was personally in charge of Hong Kong. At present, the new film was already in the process of shooting. Jiang Qinghua said, "I met Cui Xingxian at a cocktail party, and I wanted to cooperate with him. Then he proposed to deal with you, and promised to participate in my film company after it was done. Do you know why he wants to deal with us?" Lu Chun was very puzzled. He knew about Huaguan Pictures but he didn't know Cui Xingxian at all, and there was no grievance between the two sides. Jiang Qinghua directly sold Cui Xingxian out. "First of all, the film you made is in conflict with theirs. Your film is called A Chinese Ghost Story, and his film is called The Painted Skin." The Painted Skin. Lu Chun suddenly realized that The Painted Skin was also a story in Strange Tales from a Chinese studio. In this way, the two sides had the same theme, and when they applied for the policy support quota in the future, they would inevitably face direct competition. The first batch of new film support policies in Hong Kong only had 20 places, and the competition was very fierce. If the same type of film collided, Huaguan Pictures had every reason to cause trouble for A Chinese Ghost Story. Lu Chan couldn't help sneering and said, "Huaguan Pictures really thinks highly of me." Whether in terms of strength, scale, or status in the industry, Lu Chan Studio, which had just entered the film industry, was much worse than Huaguan Pictures. Unexpectedly, Cui Xingxian made trouble for them. Lu Chan was really a little speechless. Zhang Changhua hesitated for a moment and said, "Also, I heard that Cui Xingxian once pursued Chan Fei." Lu Chan was speechless. It turned out that this was Chan Feier's pursuer, and he probably hated him for failing. At this point, the truth was revealed. Chapter 506. Ever since he started dating Chan Fei, Lu Chan had been aware that he would be hated by others. As a popular singer in the domestic pop music industry, Chan Fei was definitely one of the top people in the circle, whether it was her talent, character, or appearance. Naturally, she had many pursuers, and those who had the confidence and ability to pursue her were definitely not ordinary people. Unlike many people in the circle who treated love as casual as eating and drinking, Chan Fei was very conservative in terms of love. Although there were several rumors, they were all proved to be fake news or deliberately hyped up. Therefore, when her relationship with Lu Chan was made public, it caused a great shock in the circle. Among those who had painstakingly pursued her but failed, there were really too few people who had no grudges or resentment in their hearts. Lu Chan just didn't expect that he would come across a former pursuer of Chan Fei in Hong Kong. Should we teach Cui Xingxian a lesson? When coming out of the Hentang Hotel, Li Mubai was eager to try. Let him know that we are not to be trifled with. Under the leadership of Lu Zhenghao, Zhang Changhua apologized with tea and took out 10 million as compensation. The two sides shook hands and the storm came to an end. As for the trouble that Honghua was currently facing, it had nothing to do with Lu Chan. In general, such an ending was not bad. But the third young master of the Li family was eager to see the world in chaos. How dare he have ideas about Sister Fei? Let's beat him up. Lu Chan couldn't help laughing. Forget it. He already owed the Li family a lot. If he let Li Mubai deal with Cui Xingxian, it would be too immature. Even if it was to fight back against Cui Xingxian, Lu Chan had to rely on his own strength. Li Mubai was dissatisfied. Are we just going to let him go like this? Lu Chan shook his head. No, let's wait and see. If he wanted to fight back, he naturally had to fight back through the movie that was currently being filmed. As long as A Chinese Ghost Story could win the policy support slot and squeeze out the opponent's painted skin, that would be the biggest victory. This incident also made Lu Chan realize that not only did he have to shoot his own movie well, but he also had to understand his opponent's situation. Lu Chan left the task of gathering information to Chan Wanxiang. He took out the envelope with the $10 million check and handed it to Li Mubai. Li Mubai couldn't help but roll his eyes. What? Lu Chan said. Of course it's for you. You contributed the most in this matter. You can't help for nothing, right? Li Mubai gave him the middle finger. Do you think I lack this little money? Lu Chan smiled and said, Your sister has already called me. Don't be stubborn. Just take it. There's no need to be polite between us. Li Mubai, who had been exposed, suddenly couldn't hold on anymore. He said with a bitter face, My sister is too stingy. She asked me to come to Hong Kong to open a company and only gave me a few million. It's not even enough to eat with friends. Lu Chan laughed and forced the envelope into his hand. You can spend it first. If it's not enough, you can ask me for more. Li Mubai smiled and put away the envelope with a little embarrassment. The friendship between the two of them really didn't need to be hypocritical and polite, let alone a mere 10 million. It was late at night, and third young master Li's nightlife had just begun. After taking the money, he called his friends. Of course, Lu Chan didn't accompany him. He asked Zhang Xiaofeng to drive him back to his home in Repulse Bay. When he got home, Chan Fei hadn't fallen asleep yet. She was doing beauty maintenance. She was born beautiful, and her skin was better than most people's, but no one's face could stand the ravages of time. Youth couldn't last forever, and could only be delayed through beauty maintenance. Especially for actors who often put on makeup, skincare was a very important daily work. "You're back." With a mask on her face, she asked vaguely, "How's it going?" Lu Chun took off his coat, hugged his girlfriend, then sat down on the edge of the bed and said, "We made up." Chun Fair chuckled and said, "Peace makes money. But then again, what's their purpose in doing so much? Do they want to invest in your film or studio?" Lu Chun hesitated for a moment and answered truthfully, "It was ordered by someone else." "Ordered by someone else?" Chun Fair was surprised. She took off the mask and asked, "Do you know who it is?" It wasn't terrible to have enemies. In the entertainment circle, if you didn't want to be in cahoots with others, you would definitely offend someone. What was terrible was that the enemy was hiding in the dark and stabbing you at the critical moment. Chun Fair had been in the entertainment circle for more than 10 years, and she had seen the sinister people in the circle, so she was particularly concerned. "It's Huaguan Pictures," Lu Chun had to explain. "They are also shooting a film in Hong Kong, and the theme is the same as ours. It's also based on the story and strange stories from a Chinese studio, so there's a direct competition." Huaguan Pictures. Chun Fair frowned and said, "I've seen the general manager of Huaguan, but Cui Xingxian." She shook her head, and there was a trace of disdain in her eyes. "He's arrogant and feels good about himself." "Let's not talk about this." Lu Chun smiled and held her in his arms. "Honey, let's go to bed early." Then he kissed Chun Fair's fragrant lips. Chun Fair giggled and reached out to cover his mouth. "I haven't taken a shower yet." Lu Chun had to let go of her reluctantly. Chun Fair slowly got up and walked to the bathroom. After a few steps, she stopped and looked back at Lu Chun with a seductive look. "Do you want to go together?" Lu Chun was overjoyed and jumped up. It was a charming night. The next day, the shooting of a Chinese ghost story continued. Chun Fair, who had begun to get into the mood, performed better and better. The number of NGs was pitifully few, which made director Wan Xiaoquan very satisfied. Now that the trouble had been completely solved, the operation of the crew was smooth, and the morale of the crew was high. It was expected that all the shooting would be completed within the limited time. In the afternoon, Chan Wenxiang brought a piece of information to Lu Chun. This information, which was not very detailed, surprised Lu Chun more or less, because he only now knew that there were more than 20 film and television agencies in the country that had started shooting new films in Hong Kong. In addition to the films that the local film companies in Hong Kong had already finished shooting or had just started shooting, there were at least 100 films participating in the competition for policy support next year. The competition was definitely extremely fierce. According to the information that Chan Wenxiang had learned, in addition to The Painted Skin of Huaguan Pictures, there were also Eternal Love, Spirit Fox, and many other new films that were similar to the theme of a Chinese ghost story. A Chinese ghost story was facing the competitive pressure of strong opponents. Whether it could stand out among these similar films and get the precious pass was undoubtedly still unknown. But Lu Chun was not afraid of challenges. Chapter 507. Lion Rock Film Base, Studio Number 5. In the huge shed with a real scene arrangement, 3 high-definition digital cameras were pointed up at Chun Fair, who was in the air. Her long sleeves fluttered in the air, and accompanied by the sound of xiao xiao, blood-red ribbons whistled out. The scene was spectacular. The studio was surrounded by a green screen. This kind of shooting method, which used real scenes and post-production special effects, was the most popular and the most mature technology. Cut. Wan Xiaoquan waved the script in his hand and praised loudly. Good. Today was the most important scene in a Chinese ghost story. The battle between Yin Qixia and the Thousand-Year Tree Demon. The atmosphere of the whole film had reached its climax, and it was also the part that required the most post-production. The scenes were heavy, the filming was difficult, and the requirements for the actors were high. Wan Xiaoquan originally wanted to use Chun Fair as a stunt double, but the latter refused. The heavenly queen of the music industry personally went into the scene to hang the wire. After many NGs, they finally finished shooting today's scene. The frequent NGs brought about high-intensity work pressure. Just now, everyone was very tired, but seeing that the protagonist, Chun Fair, was gritting her teeth and persevering, they had no reason to sit down and rest. Now that the filming was finally completed, many of the crew members could not help but cheer in joy. The wire that was hanging Chun Fair was slowly lowered. As soon as her feet touched the ground, her body suddenly went limp, and she lost her balance and was about to fall. Lu Chun was quick-witted. He quickly rushed forward and hugged her. "Fei-er!" The others immediately turned pale with fright and hurriedly gathered around, including Wan Xiaoquan. If anything happened to Chun Fei-er, everyone would have a hard time. It would definitely have a huge impact on the crew, and whether they could finish shooting on time would be a problem. Although she had heavy makeup on, the exhaustion on Chun Fei-er's face could not be hidden. She leaned in Lu Chen's arms, forced a smile and said, "I'm fine. I'm just too tired." How could she not be tired? She had spent at least half of the day hanging in the air with all kinds of fighting moves. If she had been physically weak, she would have been paralyzed. Fortunately, Chun Fei-er exercised every day, and she had been sharpened by filming on the prairie, so she could persevere under such high-intensity filming. Even then, she was exhausted to the point of being unable to speak, and her forehead was covered in crystalline beads of sweat. Lu Chun hurriedly untied the wire equipment on Chun Fei-er, then picked her up by the waist and sent her to the lounge. The assistant brought towels, ice packs, and water. After wiping her sweat and drinking water, Chun Fei-er's spirit was obviously much better. Just now she was just a little exhausted and now she had almost recovered. But after staying in the wire for so long, coupled with the bumps during the shooting process, she had many bruises on her body, which was very painful when touched, so Lu Chun couldn't help complaining. "I told you not to use a stunt double." He was really distressed. A Chinese ghost story involved a lot of fighting and special effects scenes. The battle between Chun Fei-er, the villain boss, Grandma Tree Fairy, and Ma Rongzhen's Yan Qixia was the most important. The movie's action director was jointly held by Lu Chun and another professional. Lu Chun referred to many scenes from the original version of the dream world in his memory, which was very different from the previous ghost movies. At the same time, there were higher requirements for the actors. Considering that Chun Fei-er had never filmed an action scene, Wan Xiaoquan proposed to let a member of the Lu family replace her, which was also agreed by Lu Chun. However, he did not expect Chun Fei-er to firmly refuse and insist on doing it herself. She shook her head and said, "It won't be fun if you use a stunt double. Besides, this is your first movie." There was a big difference between using a stunt double and using the real person. The real person was naturally the most ideal and easiest to shoot, but the premise was that the real person could perform the required actions. In fact, it was not a problem for actors to use a stunt double, because some dangerous actions could only be done by stuntmen. Moreover, if an actor was injured and hospitalized during a dangerous scene, it would drag down the entire crew. It was just that nowadays many star artists, especially young actors, would habitually use a stunt double when they encountered a slightly more difficult scene, and did not work hard to improve their own ability level. Many directors and producers, in order to catch up with the progress, often tacitly agreed or even supported this. The consequence of this practice was that when the audience watched a movie or TV series, they would always feel that the scene of a stunt double was fake and unreal, and even exposed. Chun Fei-er was turning to film and television. Her requirements for herself were obviously not satisfied with the female lead in Autumn in My Heart. If she did not do a move well, she would have to repeat it 10 times to pass. It would be strange if she was not tired. Lu Chun was moved and said, "Compared to the movie, you are the most important." The pursuit of career was his life goal. But in Lu Chun's heart, the most important thing was not career and fame, but family, lover, and friends. So what if he gave up the whole world for them? Chun Fei-er felt Lu Chun's sincerity and love from the bottom of his heart. She smiled sweetly and gently held Lu Chun's hand. A wordless sweet and warm atmosphere pervaded the small lounge. The assistant quietly shrank to the corner, trying to make himself invisible so as not to disturb the two. Unfortunately, some people did not see this scene. "Fei-er, are you okay?" Wan Xiaoquan came over and asked with concern. "Do you want to go to the hospital for a checkup or something?" Although Chun Fei-er was not the real female lead, in the eyes of this director, she was much more important than Ye Mingzhu, so he naturally cared about her. Chun Fei-er was a little embarrassed and let go of Lu Chen's hand. She smiled and said, "I'm fine. I'll be fine after a night of rest." "Then rest for one more day," Wan Xiaoquan said seriously. "The scenes to be shot tomorrow are not very important. Let the double do it." He was afraid that Chun Fei would be stubborn again and insist on acting by herself, so he quickly added, "You have a good rest. Then we will work together the day after tomorrow and finish all your scenes." Lu Chan said quickly. Director Wan's words make sense. Chun Fei rolled her eyes at Lu Chan coquettishly. She hesitated for a moment and nodded. Okay, Director Wan. She was not the kind of person who did not know what was good for her. She would not do something that was obviously not necessary. Wan Xiaoquan suddenly felt relieved and said with a smile, "You have been in Hong Kong for more than 10 days. Tomorrow let Lu Chun play with you. Leave the rest to us." Chapter 508. And be gentle, it's so sore and... A little harder, a little lower. It's here. In the spacious bedroom, the lamp on the bedside table was on. The soft orange light sprinkled on the big bed, and also sprinkled on the body of Chun Fei, who was lying on her stomach. She was only wearing a nightgown, her jade back was bare, and half of her breasts were exposed. Her eyes were closed and her pretty face was flushed, with an indescribable charm. As for the strange and greasy voice, the culprit who made her moan softly, was currently moving his hands up and down her body, busy to the point of sweating profusely. Chun Fei, whose vital part was pressed, couldn't help but let out a long moan, like a swan that was shot by an arrow. She couldn't help but raise her pink neck, and then heavily fell down, hitting the soft pillow. After a long time she came back to her senses, turned her face to the side, opened her starry eyes and weakly asked, "Where did you learn this from? It's really amazing." Lu Chan sat on the edge of the bed, picked up the bottle on the bedside table, poured some medicinal oil into his hand and said with a smile, "I used to know an old massage master and learned a few moves from him. Do you feel better now?" Today, Chun Fei hung on the wire on the set for half a day, and when she returned home at night, she was lying on the bed, so tired that she couldn't get up, and after taking off her clothes, her body was covered with bruises. Lu Chan looked distressed, so he rummaged through the medicine cabinet, found a bottle of medicinal oil, and gave Chun Fei medicine and massage. He bought the medicinal oil when he went shopping last time. It was an authentic Xiangjiang time-honored brand. The materials used were very authentic, and the method of using medicinal oil to massage to reduce bruises came from Mo Ran's memory. Mo Ran had been practicing martial arts since she was a child, so injuries from falls were common. Therefore, she had learned a set of treatment methods, which happened to be used by Lu Chan on Chun Fei. The effect was really good. The medicinal oil was kneaded and seeped into the skin, and the bruises under the skin dissipated a lot. Most of these bruises were caused by hanging on the wire for a long time, and some of them were caused by bumps during the filming process. Although they were not serious injuries, the consequences would be very troublesome if they were not treated. Chun Fei turned to look at Lu Chan, who was massaging her arm. Her eyes were filled with happiness and sweetness, but after her body and mind were completely relaxed, sleepiness washed over her like a tide, causing her eyelids to droop. Soon Chun Fei's breathing became long and smooth, and he fell into a deep sleep. There was still a faint smile on her lips. Lu Chan put down her arm and carefully covered her with a thin blanket. He then turned the brightness of the lamp to the lowest setting. After doing all this, Lu Chan left the bedroom. He still had a lot of work to do. The next day when Chun Fei woke up from her sleep, the first thing she saw was Lu Chan, who had just walked into the bedroom with eggs and hot porridge. Lu Chan came to the bed with the plate in his hands and said with a smile, "You're awake? I was just about to wake you up." Chun Fei straightened up and watched Lu Chan place the breakfast in front of her. She asked, "What time is it?" Lu Chan smiled and said, "It's noon. You must be hungry now, right?" "It's noon." Hearing Lu Chan's words, Chun Fei really felt hungry. She couldn't help blushing and said coquettishly, "Why didn't you wake me up earlier?" Lu Chan smiled and said, "You slept like a pig. How could I wake you up? It's not too late now." Chun Fei wrinkled her nose and said, "You're the pig." It was very strange that Chun Fei was several years older than Lu Chan, and her debut event was much longer than Lu Chen's. However, in front of Lu Chan, she preferred to be a spoiled little girl, because this feeling made her very warm and comfortable. Lu Chan reached out to scratch her nose and said, "Eat breakfast first, then go wash your face and brush your teeth. I'll take you to a party in the afternoon." Chun Fei asked curiously, "What party?" Lu Chan said, You should know that the Bell Tower Music Salon of Lan Kuai-fong was invited by Yi Xian. Yi Xian was a well-known singer in Xiangjiang, and his position was between the second and third tier. When Lu Chen first came to Xiangjiang, he went to Lan Kuai-fong to play and sang on the stage with Yi Xian at La Dolce Vita 97 bar, so he got to know him. At that time, Lu Chen sang a song called The Love of My Life, which was still one of the top 3 popular songs on Hong Kong radio station, which made him have a large number of fans in Xiangjiang. Yi Xian had a good reputation in the circle, so Lu Chen didn't refuse his invitation. It just happened that he was resting today, so he was going to take Chen Feier to join in the fun. Most importantly, the Bell Tower Music Salon had a very special position in the pop music world of Xiangjiang. Bell Tower Music Salon? Chen Feier had also heard of it. I know. When I came to Xiangjiang before, someone invited me to participate. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to perform at that time. The Bell Tower Music Salon was founded at the end of the 1980s by several leading figures in the music world at that time. The venue of the party was the Bell Tower Bar in Lan Kuai-fong. The Hong Kong Musicians Salon was held irregularly, and the people invited were all powerful figures in the circle, including but not limited to singers, producers, songwriters, musicians, and music critics. As long as they had real talent, they had a chance to be invited. People in the pop music world of Xiangjiang could also participate in the Bell Tower Music Salon, because it was a recognition of their own strength, and they could make more friends in the party. The original intention of the Bell Tower Music Salon was to communicate, to exchange music, to exchange ideas, and to exchange ideas about music. When Lu Chen and Chen Feier arrived at the Bell Tower Bar in Lan Kuai-fong, it was already past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There was no other way. After yesterday's tiredness and Lu Chen's devastation, Chen Feier, who woke up at noon, was ready to use her best appearance to participate in this gathering of Xiangjiang musicians, which naturally took a lot of time. After carefully dressing up, she looked radiant, and no one could tell that she was so tired yesterday that she almost fell down. Among the many bars in Lan Kuai-fong, the Bell Tower Bar was neither the largest nor the most popular, but anyone who had been in Lan Kuai-fong knew how long its history was. Long before Lan Kuai-fong became a bar street, the Bell Tower Bar opened early. Because it rented the first and second floors of the Lan Kuai-fong Bell Tower, it got its name. Today the Bell Tower Bar had become a historical building in Xiangjiang, and the Bell Tower Bar had also become a part of history, a place that many tourists and drinkers yearned for. But at noon today, the Bell Tower Bar hung up a sign saying it was closed, because the music salon was held here, and many famous singers of Xiangjiang attended. Chapter 509. The 7-story European-style bell tower stood out among the buildings in Lan Kuai-fong. The vicissitudes of 100 years had left indelible traces on this building. It still stood proudly in the wind and rain, silently witnessing the rise and fall of Hong Kong. Compared with the other bars in Lan Kuai-fong, which were full of neon lights, the exterior decoration of the Bell Tower Bar had a lot more taste of the precipitation of time. It was deep and restrained and rich in style. A simple copper signboard with beautiful hand-engraved characters, under the orange light of the antique lamps, inadvertently attracted the attention of passers-by and tourists. Unfortunately, the Bell Tower Bar was not open to the public tonight, but there were many figures holding long and short cameras wandering on the street outside the bar. There was no doubt that they were paparazzi who got the news and came to grab the news. The Bell Tower Music Salon was a gathering of Hong Kong musicians. The initiator was a famous figure in the Hong Kong pop music world. The time of the event was not fixed, and the people invited were also not fixed. But those who were qualified to be invited were all people with identity, status, or ability in the circle. Therefore, it was very normal for paparazzi to appear outside the bar. They had the most sensitive sense of smell. Any movement in the circle would be known, and they would appear in a specific place as soon as possible. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, far from the time when Hong Kong's nightlife began, most of the bars in Lan Kuai-fong had opened for business, and the streets were full of people, many of whom were tourists from all over the world. Suddenly, flashes were lit in the crowd, accompanied by high and low screams. Wu Yanan! Jiang Wei! Look, it's Zhu Wenhua! These names represented the shining stars in the Hong Kong pop music world, so they immediately attracted the attention of passers-by, and everyone gathered around to watch the fun. Those celebrities recognized by the paparazzi quickened their steps, and walked into the bar under the cover of their assistance. The bar had already arranged security personnel at the door, and idlers and paparazzi who were not invited could not enter. In fact, as a celebrity gathering, the Bell Tower Music Salon was not very private. No matter when it was held, the news would spread to the circle in a very short time, and the paparazzi who heard the news would more or less bring some trouble to the participants. However, this trouble was nothing for the people who participated in the party. Although the Bell Tower Music Salon was just a gathering of people in the circle, its influence on the Hong Kong pop music world could not be underestimated. To a certain extent, it had become the wind vane of Hong Kong pop music. However, it must be admitted that the status of Hong Kong pop music was quite embarrassing, far from the glory of the past. The influence of the Bell Tower Music Salon was also declining, but it was becoming more and more popular. When Lu Chan and Chan Fei arrived at the Bell Tower bar, there happened to be a well-known singer in front of them. The paparazzi's attention was on the other party, so they ignored them. The paparazzi's in lieu of Bell Tower bar. And they saw it. The interior of the Bell Tower bar was decorated in an extraordinary style. The designer's painstaking creativity could be seen everywhere. On the right side of the door was a long starlight wall, on which hundreds of celebrity photos were hung. Mr. Lu Chan, Mississippi Chenfa. The one who welcomed Lu Chan and Chen Fei was a middle-aged man with an elegant demeanor. He wore a white casual suit and had a warm and gentle smile. He had the charm of a mature man. I am the host of this Bell Tower Music Salon, Guohan. Welcome. Of course, the host of the Bell Tower Music Salon was not an unknown person. This Guo Huayan was a famous host of Hong Kong satellite TV, a famous speaker in the news circle and a columnist. Guo Huayan came from a famous family in Hong Kong, and had a wide range of contacts in and out of the circle. In addition, he had a good character, so he had been the host of the Bell Tower Music Salon for several consecutive years. When Yi Xian called to invite Lu Chan, he specifically mentioned this host. In fact, with Yi Xian's status in the Xiangjiang pop music world, he was not qualified to directly invite Lu Chan and Chen Fei to participate in the Bell Tower Music Salon. However, as a participant of many music salons, he recommended to the promoter. After getting the latter's approval, he called Lu Chan. The invitation was sent to Lu Chan's studio yesterday. Hello, Mr. Guo. Lu Chan and Chan Fei shook hands with him. When shaking hands with Chan Fei, Guo Huayan's eyes flashed with amazement. He said half-jokingly, I found it was a mistake to invite Mississippi Chan Fei here today. Chan Fei was stunned. Huh? Guo Huayan immediately smiled and said, because you are more beautiful in real life than in the photo. When everyone's attention is focused on you, no one will pay attention to me, the host. Lu Chan and Chan Fei couldn't help laughing. Guo Huayan was an interesting person, and his jokes were very good. The most important thing was that he used standard Mandarin to talk to the two of them, not Cantonese. Lu Chan and Chan Fei were both from the mainland. This was a respectful attitude. Chan Fei smiled and said, I think Mr. Guo's humor is enough to make everyone ignore my existence. Guo Huayan laughed and said, Miss Chan is really good at joking, he said to the two of them apologetically. There are still many guests coming, so please excuse me. How about we talk later? Lu Chan smiled and said, Thank you. The overall layout of the Bell Tower bar was similar to that of many ordinary bars. It was divided into 2 floors, with a performance stage suspended in the middle. However, because of the need to hold a salon, most of the tables and chairs had been removed and replaced with more comfortable sofas. Of course, there was a buffet table covered with a white tablecloth, on which all kinds of delicious food had been placed. Braised lamb with herbs, grilled fillet steak, American-style fried bacon, fruit salad, cream cake. The silver tableware was very tempting, and the fragrance was simply mouth-watering. It was said that the independent dinner of the Bell Tower Music Salon was prepared by famous Western chefs in Hong Kong. The selection of ingredients was excellent, and the standards were quite high. Although it was not yet time for dinner, the buffet was probably prepared early to take care of the needs of the guests. There were already 20 or 30 guests in front of Lu Chan and Chan Fei. They were either sitting on the sofa in 2s or 3s, talking and laughing, or holding champagne or enjoying delicious food. The atmosphere was warm but not noisy. Lu Chan reached out and asked a waiter for 2 glasses of champagne. One for Chan Fei. Then he was going to find a place to sit. However, before he found a place, someone found him first. Lu Chun. Chapter 510. In the entertainment industry of Hong Kong, Lu Chun was a complete newcomer. Although he had gained considerable popularity and fame in Hong Kong with the song The Love of My Life and the incident of a Chinese ghost story, he could not be regarded as a real person in the entertainment circle. Therefore, even though Lu Chun had received the invitation to the Bell Tower Music Salon, he did not have any friends or acquaintances here, including the person who had taken the initiative to greet him. He had only met him once. However, Yixian's warm attitude made it easy for people to misunderstand that the two of them were friends who had known each other for many years. He smiled and said, "I was just about to call you and ask when you would come over." As he spoke, his gaze fell on Chen Feier and he revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. "This is your girlfriend, Miss Chen Feier, right?" According to the rules of the Bell Tower Music Salon, invited guests were allowed to bring a companion. A male companion, female companion, or assistant manager were all fine. Yixian had invited Lu Chun. He didn't expect Lu Chun to bring Chen Feier along. This made him, the inviter, feel very honored, and his smile became much more sincere. Lu Chun smiled and said, "Yes, thank you for your invitation. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to participate in this music event." "Feier, this is Mr. Yixian." Chen Feier smiled faintly and nodded. "Hello, Mr. Yi." "Hello, hello." Yixian became more and more enthusiastic, and there was even a hint of eagerness in his smile. This scene happened to be seen by a few young people who were chatting not far away. One of them, a thin man, curled his lips in disdain and said, "This Yixian, he's even flattering people from the mainland. He's not afraid of losing face." One of his companions smiled and said, "I've heard that Yixian intends to enter the mainland market. It's normal for him to flatter these two." As a local pop singer in Xiangjiang, Yixian's status wasn't high. He belonged to the second or third tier stars, but his talent were not bad. He could write lyrics, write songs, and play guitar, bass, and keyboard. He was quite popular with fans on many occasions. In terms of conduct, Yixian's personality was rather tactful. He never easily offended others, nor did he take the initiative to scheme against others. He didn't speak ill of others behind their backs, and he didn't act like a big shot. He would never have a temper. This made Yixian quite popular in the circle, which was why he was able to participate in the Bell Tower Music Salon so many times. However, in the eyes of many of the new idols in Xiangjiang's pop music world who pursued individuality, Yixian wasn't a big shot senior that they could submit to, nor was he a peer that had a common topic with them. The thin man glanced at another tall and handsome young man and chuckled. "Dawei, that's Lu Chun who's filming a Chinese ghost story. He's your opponent, right? Aren't you going to say hello?" He added meaningfully, "Chen Feier is really beautiful. She's the heavenly queen of the mainland music industry." The young man named Dawei laughed and said, "What the hell are you trying to do now?" The thin man shrugged innocently and said, "I'm not playing tricks, I'm just stating the facts. If you don't want to go, it doesn't matter. It's not like we're friends." Dawei curled his lips and expressed his contempt for the thin man's clumsy provocation. However, after pondering for a moment, he still picked up a glass of champagne and walked towards Lu Chun. Although he knew that his companion was deliberately provoking him, his pride made it impossible for him to retreat. Seeing that Dawei was really going to greet Lu Chun, the thin man's lips curled into a sly smile. He also picked up a glass of wine, gently shook it and said, "There's a good show to watch." The other two companions also laughed. "You are Lu Chun?" Dawei walked straight to Lu Chun and asked bluntly. Lu Chun, who was chatting with Yixian, was stunned. He didn't know who this slightly aggressive fellow was. The avant-garde dress, handsome appearance, and not low height. The other party's age and image were the popular little fresh meat type in the entertainment industry, including the arrogance and confidence between his eyebrows. Yixian was still smooth and quickly introduced. "Lu Chun, this is Zhang Wei from Star Art Entertainment, the star of hope of our Hong Kong pop music industry. He has already released a music album in the past year." However, Lu Chun had never heard of Zhang Wei's name. He just nodded out of politeness and said, "Hello." The other party's attitude made Lu Chun unhappy, so his attitude could not be said to be enthusiastic. Is the star of hope of Hong Kong pop music very powerful? However, Lu Chen's cold attitude made Jiang Wei very unhappy, and what annoyed him was that Lu Chen did not have any reaction to his name, as if he did not exist in his eyes at all. As a new generation of idol artists in Hong Kong entertainment industry, this was the most intolerable thing for Jiang Wei. He raised his chin and said, "Please remember my name because I will be the one to defeat you." After saying that, Jiang Wei turned around and left. However, when he left, he couldn't help but take another look at Chen Feier. There were quite a few guests who had already arrived at the Bell Tower bar, including several female celebrities and socialites in the circle. There were also many guests who had brought their female companions, and there were quite a few beauties present. However, regardless of appearance or temperament, none of them could compare to Chen Feier. Jiang Wei was also a little tempted. However, as arrogant as he would never choose this time to curry favor with Chen Feier. His provocation towards Lu Chen was also to leave a deep impression on Chen Feier. However, Chen Feier looked at the champagne glass in his hand with a smile on his face, as if he did not exist at all. Yi Xian, who introduced him to Jiang Wei, couldn't help but feel awkward. He said with a wry smile, "Jiang Wei, he is the male lead of the new film Painted Skin, produced by Star Art Entertainment and Hua Guan Pictures." As expected, Yi Xian never spoke ill of others behind their backs, even if the other party had just slapped him in the face. However, he pointed out Jiang Wei's other identity. Lu Chen suddenly understood. Turned out that he was really a competitor. No wonder he said he wanted to defeat him. Some time ago, due to the accident of the crew, Lu Chen specially asked Chen Wenqiang to collect information about the new movies that were being filmed in Xiangjiang at the same time, and were interested in participating in the competition for the support policy. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. He had neglected this point in the past, until the emergence of Hua Guan Pictures. In this circle, most of the time it was not just about doing your own thing but also about paying attention to your opponent's movements. Only in this way can you make targeted adjustments at any time and make yourself invincible. Among the opponent information that Chen Wenqiang had collected, the new film Painted Skin produced by Star Art Entertainment and Hua Guan Pictures was undoubtedly the most important, because this film was undoubtedly the biggest competitor of a Chinese ghost story. It was true that enemies would not meet unless they met. Lu Chen did not expect to meet the male lead of Painted Skin at the music salon. He finally remembered Jiang Wei's name. The entertainment circle of Xiangjiang was really small. Chapter 511. Strategically, one had to look down on the enemy, and tactically one had to pay attention to the enemy. Although Lu Chen has strong confidence in a Chinese ghost story, which he led, he will never underestimate any opponent, especially a highly competitive film of the same type like Painted Skin. The Painted Skin was a heavy investment by Hua Guan Pictures into Xiangjiang. This film adaptation of strange tales from a Chinese studio claimed to have a total investment of more than 100 million yuan, a strong cast, and a large number of popular stars from both sides of the Taiwan Strait. It was also said that the post-production special effects were signed to Xiangjiang's New Visual Imaging. New Visual Imaging was a famous film and television post-production special effects company in Xiangjiang. Its founder had worked in a large special effects company in Hollywood for 10 years, and had accumulated rich experience. He returned to Xiangjiang to start a business and recruited a large number of professional talents. He participated in the production of many blockbusters in Xiangjiang and the mainland, and had a good reputation in the industry. The director of The Painted Skin, Ding Tai, had won 2 Best Director awards at the Xiangjiang Film Awards. Hua Guan Pictures and Star Art Entertainment had teamed up and made such a big move. They had invested so much in The Painted Skin, so Cui Xingxian naturally could not allow himself to fail. He was determined to get the green passage. He had mobilized a large number of people to make a movie in Xiangjiang. Of course, it was not just for Xiangjiang's film support policy, but also to expand the film market in Xiangjiang, and at the same time to Taiwan and Southeast Asia. This was an important part of Hua Guan Pictures' plan to go south. Under such circumstances, Lu Chen's A Chinese Ghost Story had naturally become a rather conspicuous stumbling block. If Lu Chen was just an unknown newcomer, Cui Xingxian would not care at all. He could directly crush him with his work. However, Lu Chen was now a hot star in the country. The great success of his 2 TV series made him a well-known existence in the film and television industry. Cui Xingxian could not ignore him. Most importantly, Lu Chun's second TV series, Full House of Romance, once defeated a strong opponent with a weak one, and made Xiangnan Satellite TV almost lose face. Tian Romantic House. When Full of Romance first aired, Shonan TV's annual drama Sea of Love was competing with it in terms of viewership ratings. As a result, the latter was forced to change its broadcast time to avoid the spotlight. With such a vivid example in the past, Cui Xingxian naturally regarded Lu Chun as the #1 threat. Even if a Chinese ghost story was big and weaker than the Painted Skin in terms of investment and cast, he did not dare to let his guard down. If he repeated the mistakes of Sea of Love, Cui Xingxian would be in big trouble. The TV could still change the broadcast time, but it was impossible to change the movie when it was released. It would be a crushing defeat. It was precisely because Cui Xingxian valued Lu Chun, coupled with personal emotional factors, that the incident of Hong Hua harassing a Chinese ghost story happened. Although Cui Xingxian's claws had been cut off cleanly, he obviously would not let it go. If he couldn't do it in the dark, then he would do it openly. Now Huaguan Pictures and Star Art Entertainment had recognized a Chinese ghost story as their #1 opponent and had arranged a corresponding publicity plan. This was the root cause of Jiang Wei's provocation towards Lu Chun. Yi Xian had a little understanding of such complicated internal affairs, but he had no intention of getting involved. He cleverly changed the topic and chatted with Lu Chun about the theme of this salon. Since its inception, the Bell Tower Music Salon had been successfully held hundreds of times. Almost all the big shots in the Hong Kong pop music world had participated in it, so it had a great influence in the industry. According to the convention, every music salon had a topic for discussion. The topic could be very broad or very focused, such as the development trend of Chinese pop music or the style evolution of Cantonese love songs. A free and relaxed discussion atmosphere was the characteristic of the Bell Tower Music Salon. And the theme of today's music salon was a little big: the past, present and future of Hong Kong pop music. To be honest, such a big topic was enough to write a thick collection of essays. As the founder of Chinese pop music, Hong Kong pop music had too many things to say. Of course, Yi Xian knew that this topic was too big and he couldn't explain it clearly in a short time, so he didn't talk about the past and future of Hong Kong pop music. He only talked about the present, indicating that he wanted to hear Lu Chun's opinion. Even outsiders could see the dilemma that Hong Kong's pop music industry was facing. However, it was undoubtedly very difficult to break out of the trap. As the saying goes, the onlookers are confused. Perhaps an excellent musician from the mainland like Lu Chun might be able to give some useful advice. Perhaps it was because this topic had piqued the interest of the guests in the salon. Soon many people gathered around. Some were serious out of good intentions, while others were not so kind and were ready to nitpick. Although most of the people present had met Lu Chun for the first time, they basically knew where Lu Chun came from. This young artist from the mainland had been in the limelight in Hong Kong recently. In the face of all kinds of gazes from around, Lu Chun was a little speechless. Yi Xian had given him a big topic. If he really talked about it, he wouldn't be able to finish it even after a few days and nights. Hong Kong pop music started in the middle and late 1970s. Japanese songs began to be popular in the Hong Kong music industry. Like the economic status of Hong Kong, it entered a period of rapid rise. It was common for popular singers to release 2 or 3 songs a year. Due to the lack of local composers, Japanese songs and Cantonese lyrics became a trend, and there were also a number of singing stars who became famous by covering songs until the 1980s. In the 1980s, Hong Kong was innocent and bright, and had a beautiful fantasy of the future. The times were rumbling forward, and everything was not worth mentioning. In the middle and late 1980s, people in Hong Kong began to emphasize emotional consumption. Everyone pursued a unique personal style, and tried to get rid of single consumption to show personal taste. This social trend of thought brought new demands, including pop music. Covers of Japanese songs and Cantonese lyrics could no longer meet the appreciation needs of the majority of fans. Record companies began to pay attention to original works, and recruited a large number of professional songwriters. As a result, Hong Kong pop music entered a new period of development. Good songs and classics emerged one after another, and a large number of them were imported to the mainland, which had a huge impact on the mainland pop music. The 1980s and 1990s were the golden age of Hong Kong pop music. The heavenly king and queen of the singing industry each led the coquettish, songwriters emerged one after another, and hundreds of flowers competed for beauty. However, in the new century, Hong Kong pop music gradually could not keep up with the times. The heavenly king and queen gradually aged, and the songwriters lacked inspiration. The new generation of singers and artists learned from Japanese and Korean stars, and embarked on the path of idols. History seemed to be reincarnating. In the current Hong Kong pop music world, imitation and plagiarism became the trend. However, the imitation and cover targets increased from Japan to Europe, America, Japan, and South Korea. Singers no longer relied on selling albums to make money. It was mainstream for celebrities and singers to sell their looks and looks. This was where the interests of the major entertainment media companies lay, so how could they abandon this good way to make money? As for the Hong Kong pop music world, who cared about life and death? There was a dilemma, and it was difficult to break it. The current situation of Hong Kong's pop music world had many similarities with that of the mainland. How could Lu Chan have the ability to break the predicament with bold words? But if he did not say anything or only said something in general, he would be looked down upon. After thinking about it, Lu Chan decided to say something. Chapter 5:12. I think that in terms of original pop music, Xiangjiang should learn from the mainland. Lu Chan didn't say much at the beginning, but as soon as he opened his mouth, it caused an uproar. Some of the Xiangjiang musicians who gathered around to listen to the excitement were dumbfounded. Some sneered disdainfully, some were thoughtful, and some were furious. Many people thought that Lu Chen's words were ridiculous. For a long time in the past, excluding niche types of music such as national rock, the mainland pop music had always been the imitator and follower of Xiangjiang pop music. The latter had a huge influence on the former. From the late 1990s to the beginning of the new century, many Xiangjiang musicians went north to develop, which greatly promoted the development of mainland pop music. Therefore, to some extent, it was not an exaggeration to say that Xiangjiang was the teacher of the mainland in terms of pop music. Although Xiangjiang's pop music had declined, it was impossible for them, the local musicians of Xiangjiang, to say that Xiangjiang should learn from the mainland. Especially since this sentence came from the mouth of Lu Chan, a singer-artist from the mainland. For a moment the crowd was in an uproar, and there was a somewhat tense atmosphere. If it wasn't for the basic courtesy of social occasions, someone would have already come out and scolded Lu Chan loudly. Such a scene made Yixian, who started the topic, secretly complain. He didn't expect Lu Chan to be so straightforward, causing him to fall into a rather awkward situation. Fortunately, Yixian was also somewhat quick-witted, so he simply continued the topic. Why do you say that? If the conversation between the two of them was regarded as a crosstalk, then Yixian was undoubtedly playing the role of a supporting character. This way he could take away the firepower and make others pay more attention to Lu Chan, and forget about him, the culprit. Lu Chan smiled and said, because in some aspects the mainland is indeed doing better than Xiangjiang. His voice was not loud, and it was even quite gentle, but his words were filled with unshakable confidence. In fact, domestic pop music is also facing a similar problem as Hong Kong. Plagiarism and imitation are common, and local original works are dispirited and deeply influenced by Japan, South Korea, Europe, and the United States. However, many domestic musicians have long been aware of this problem, and have made changes in many aspects. The simplest example is that in the past 2 years, domestic music talent shows have paid more and more attention to originality, and even launched programs such as Super Singer and so on. Although the producer of Super Singer is Shonan TV, and there are strong commercial interests behind supporting the original work, Lu Chan is still supportive of the program itself, because it could allow many outstanding singers and composers to stand out and condense the power of original music. Moreover, the treatment of domestic songwriters has been greatly improved. With the recovery of the pop music market, capable songwriters are becoming more and more popular with entertainment agencies. In contrast, the entertainment industry in Xiangjiang is complacent and has no courage and determination to change the status quo. They are obsessed with playing the leftovers from Europe, the United States, Japan, and South Korea. They frequently launch idol artists to hype and publicize, stare at the pockets of young people in Xinjiang, and never take originality seriously. Especially in Xinjiang's talent show, Miss Xinjiang, Miss Asia, Idol Awards and so on occupy the mainstream. It looks lively and glorious, but after taking off the gorgeous and noisy coat, what's left inside? Lu Chan said bluntly. When I was a child, I listened to a lot of excellent and classic Cantonese songs, but now I still listen to those old songs. Isn't this the problem of Xinjiang pop music in terms of originality? Many people around fell into silence, because what Lu Chan said was completely true, and they could not refute it. Some people were not convinced and asked, is the original work in the mainland really better than in Xinjiang? Lu Chan smiled and said, I'm not modest to say that it's true. I'll take myself as an example. I'm also a songwriter. At present, my personal studio's offer to the public is 1 million yuan per work. 1 million yuan per song. There was a sudden sound of light exclamations and gasps around, because this price was completely beyond their expectations. It should be known that the best songwriter in Xinjiang, Ouyang Durong, was only around 300,000 yuan for a song. The height determines the thickness and level. With Lu Chan as a benchmark, the value of the original work in the mainland must not be low, at least far beyond the level of Xinjiang. Someone muttered doubtfully, is it true or not? When Lu Chan first came to Xinjiang when he attended a charity auction, he took out a work as an auction item and sold it at a high price of 1 million yuan. This matter was also spread in the circle, but not many people took it seriously because many charity auctions were just hype. A so-called modern art painting with random graffiti could be sold for tens of millions of yuan. Everyone in the industry was well aware of the trickery involved, but now that Lu Chan said it himself, it was different. If he bragged, he would become a joke in the circle. Of course it's true. Someone answered for Lu Chan decisively. Mr. Lu Chan is the most outstanding music composer in the mainland. As far as I know, his studio's work has been arranged until 2018, and he has temporarily stopped booking. Everyone's eyes were focused on the other party. Madame Jean. It was Jean Mingxiu, the boss of Madame Jin's entertainment company, who came forward to testify for Lu Chan. The doubters were suddenly speechless. Jean Mingxiu was born in a famous family. When she was in her 20s, she founded an entertainment company, involved in the production of movies and TV variety shows, and trained artists and singers. For decades, she had sent a large number of talents to the entertainment industry in Xinjiang. Famous actors Lu Jian, Gu Rong, singers Gao Mingfeng, Li Li and so on were all taught by Madame Jean. In the entertainment industry in Xinjiang, she was definitely at the top. Although she did not have the status of a superstar, any superstar or queen would give her some face. Her testimony naturally carried a lot of weight. Jean Mingxiu ignored the surprised eyes around her and said to Lu Chan with a smile, Lu Chan, long time no see. Then this famous figure in the entertainment industry in Xinjiang walked forward and held Chan Feier's little hand, with a look of surprise as if they had not met for a long time. Feier, you are getting more and more beautiful. Chen Feier grinned and said, Sister Jean, you are getting younger and younger. Madame Jean shook her head. Don't make fun of Sister Jean. If I had known that you two were invited to participate in the salon, I would have come earlier. Holding Chen Feier's hand, she looked around and said seriously, I just listened to a few words, and I feel that what Mr. Lu Chan said is very reasonable. The current situation of Xinjiang's pop music needs us to work together to change it. It's not enough to just talk. We need action. I suggest that we create a competition to encourage and support original music. It's not a problem to use the form of a real talent show. As long as we can let Xinjiang's pop music and Cantonese songs regain their glory, it will be worth it no matter how much we pay. Madame Jin's aura was undoubtedly strong. As soon as she appeared, she attracted everyone's attention, and also pulled the topic caused by Lu Chan to a higher level. Chapter 513. The Bell Tower Music Salon was a gathering of Hong Kong musicians, but the invitees were not limited to Hong Kong musicians. In addition to singers and songwriters, there were also many executives in the media and entertainment industry. But in Hong Kong's pan-entertainment industry, they undoubtedly stood in a high-level position. The atmosphere in the music salon was very relaxed, and there were not many rules and regulations. The initiator of the salon would choose a theme, and then the participants would be free to express themselves, talk, discuss, and even give impromptu speeches or performances on the stage. The theme of the exchange would never change. However, it was rare for Mrs. Jean to make a clear and unambiguous proposal here. And this proposal was very sensitive to everyone. Since the beginning of the new century, the domestic entertainment industry had developed rapidly. Influenced by the entertainment trend in Europe, the United States, Japan, and South Korea, domestic reality talent shows had emerged one after another. Although there were many voices of criticism, a large number of talent show stars had emerged, and many of them were eventually promoted to A-list positions. Many artists from Hong Kong's Treasure Island were envious of them and rushed to the mainland to fight for their lives. On the surface, it seemed that Hong Kong's entertainment industry did not care much about this, and even a little disdainful. But in fact, many entertainment media companies had cooperated with Hong Kong TV stations to launch talent shows and singing competitions, but they either ended in failure or embarrassment, and did not have much influence. The reasons were the lack of capital investment, the poor publicity of the TV stations, and so on. The most typical example was the judges of talent shows. Their appearance fees were often very low, and it was difficult to attract the real big stars to participate, or even if they participated, they would not work hard. As for the rewards won by the winner, it was not worth mentioning compared to the winner of the domestic talent show. All kinds of problems made Hong Kong's talent shows, except for Miss Hong Kong and Miss Asia, were not good enough and had no influence in the mainland at all. Therefore, although Mrs. Jin's proposal was lofty, it instantly caused an awkward silence. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to say directly. They each had their own positions, and each represented their own interests. It was really unrealistic to want to unite and organize a talent show with the theme of encouraging and supporting original music. Mrs. Jin's idea was a little too idealistic. It was not that they did not want to give face to Mrs. Jean, but this matter was really too complicated. There were few people who agreed. Madame Jean sighed to herself when she saw this scene. A look of disappointment flashed across her eyes. The influence of the Bell Tower Music Salon in Hong Kong's entertainment circle was constantly weakening, which had a lot to do with the fact that most of the participants could only talk and did not know how to act. Now, it had basically become a social gathering within the circle. What's the difference between this and other gatherings? She had been in the entertainment industry for decades, and knew the current situation in the industry like the back of her hand. Just now, after listening to Lu Chen's words, she couldn't help but stand up and really wanted to do something for Hong Kong pop music. The result was still so disappointing. Lu Chen said, "I think Jin's suggestion is very good. Lu Chen's studio is willing to contribute to it." Madame Jean smiled gratefully at Lu Chen, who helped her out. It was a pity that Lu Chen came from the mainland and was destined not to belong to Xiangjiang, otherwise. "Count me in." At this moment, a warm and mellow voice rang out from the crowd. "Who is it?" Everyone could understand why Lu Chen supported Madame Jean. After all, the latter had just supported the former, and the two were supporting each other. But who agreed with Madame Jean's unreliable idea? Everyone wanted to see. As a result, everyone was dumbfounded. The person who said, "Count me in," looked like he was in his 40s. He was not tall and had a faint smile on his face, but no one present dared to look down on him, because this middle-aged man was the top big shot in Hong Kong's entertainment circle, the most popular Heavenly King Lu Gangsheng. No one expected that Lu Gangsheng would also participate in this music salon, but it was actually normal for him to appear here, because Lu Gangsheng was one of the founders of the Bell Tower Music Salon. At that time, the young Lu Gangsheng was already one of the leading figures in Hong Kong's pop music world. The head of the Heavenly King, the chief idol of Asia, Hong Kong's non-official justice of the peace, and Asian superstar. There were too many titles and honors on this person. The voice he made, in a sense, represented the will of Hong Kong's entertainment circle, which no one could compare with. Brother Shang, Hong Kong student. Mr. Lu. Whether in the entertainment circle or outside, regardless of their status, everyone present greeted Lu Gangsheng. Lu Gangsheng responded to them one by one with a smile. Under everyone's gaze, he walked in front of Lu Chen and took the initiative to reach out to the latter. "Hello." Lu Chen quickly shook his hand. "Hello, Brother Hua." This was one of his idols when he was a child. Today was the first time he saw him in person, so he was really excited. Lu Gangxing said with a smile, "I'm here today to see a music genius like you. I'm not disappointed." There were low exclamations of surprise around. A music genius. Lu Gangxing's evaluation of Lu Chan was very high. Lu Chan said modestly, "Brother Hua, you flatter me. I still have a lot to learn from you." Lu Gangxing nodded with a smile and looked at Chen Feier. "Miss Chen, we meet again." Chen Feier reached out and said, "Hello, Brother Hua." She was a heavenly queen of the pop music world in the mainland, but in terms of influence she was not as influential as this person in front of her. The two had met when they participated in a large-scale cultural performance. Finally, Lu Gangxing looked at Mrs. Jean and said, "Sister Jean, you will organize this competition. I can spare some time to be a judge." Mrs. Jean was pleasantly surprised. "Thank you, Hong Kong student." The two were old acquaintances, but they could not be regarded as real friends. Lu Gangxing came out to support her, obviously not because of this shallow friendship, but because of his support and love for Hong Kong's pop music. If Mrs. Jin's previous proposal was just a flashy idea, then now with Lu Gangxing's participation, the idea suddenly became practical and highly operable. Many people's minds suddenly became active. Lu Gangxing looked at Lu Chan again and said, "Lu Chan, since Sister Jin's idea is because of you, you can think of a name for this pop music competition, and I also hope that you can be one of the judges." In an instant it was as if another bomb had exploded in the crowd, and many people were shocked. Chapter 514. Hong Kong has two major wireless channels, Xiangjiang Satellite TV and Asia Television, and more than a dozen small and medium-sized cable channels. Every year, there are countless variety entertainment programs, including various reality talent competitions. However, there has never been a competition specifically for original pop music, so Mrs. Jin's previous proposal was not approved by many people, and they felt that she was a bit whimsical. However, Lu Gangxing's support and participation suddenly made this whimsical idea very operable. If he was willing to serve as a judge, I'm afraid that both the satellite TV and ATV would rush to host it. It should be known that as the top big shot in Hong Kong's entertainment industry, Lu Gangxing rarely appeared in variety shows. At most, he appeared in high-end interview programs. His firm attitude made people speculate that the Heavenly King might have the same idea. What really surprised people was not Lu Gangxing's attitude, but his appreciation for Lu Chan. In the circle, Lu Gangxing has always had a good reputation for being willing to promote newcomers. Many popular stars have been recommended and recognized by him. However, his appreciation for Lu Chan was obviously beyond the ordinary level. Letting Lu Chan name the competition and sincerely inviting Lu Chan to be a judge was tantamount to elevating Lu Chan to almost the same position as him. What did a young artist from the mainland do to make Heavenly King Lu favor him so much? Looking at Lu Chan, there were shock, doubt, jealousy, and scorching eyes that seemed to be able to melt gold and iron. If it was any other Xiangjiang artist, even if they were unknown before, as long as the news spread out, they would definitely be on the prominent position of the major entertainment sections and even the headlines, becoming famous overnight. It was like a big pie falling from the sky. Lu Chan himself was also very surprised, and even felt a little incredulous, but he saw true appreciation and sincerity in Lu Gangxing's eyes. "Thank you, Brother Shang." Lu Chan pondered for a moment and said, "Then I'll start with a name. How about Xiangjiang New Voice?" "Xiangjiang New Voice?" Lu Gangxing's eyes lit up, nodded and praised. "This name is good, easy to understand and has a good meaning. What do you think about using Hong Kong New Voice?" Since Lao Tianwang had already acknowledged and praised it, who wouldn't give him face? Moreover, the name was indeed not bad. It was straightforward and catchy, which was very good for publicity. Not bad, not bad. Xiangjiang New Voice, good name. I agree. They looked at Lu Chan with increasingly scorching eyes. If the original music talent contest Hong Kong New Voice could really be held and succeeded, Lu Chan would undoubtedly engrave his name in the history of Hong Kong pop music and leave an indelible mark in the Hong Kong pop music world. Lu Gangxing was very satisfied. Since everyone supports it, let's use this name. Pa, pa, pa. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a warm round of applause. More and more guests gathered around Lu Chan and Lu Gangxing. Almost all the people in the circle had gathered here. When they learned the ins and outs of the matter, they all felt as if they had witnessed history. Lu Chun said, "I have a suggestion. I think the standard of Hong Kong New Voice must be the highest, and we can't be stingy in terms of rewards. Therefore, on behalf of Lu Chun Studio, I will donate 5 million yuan as the competition reward fund." One of the characteristics of Hong Kong talent shows was that the rewards were quite stingy. Even the most popular Hong Kong sister and Asian sister would not receive more than 1 million yuan as the reward for the champion. At most, it was just a reputation reward. As for other ordinary talent shows, it was already very good to give tens of thousands of yuan. The invited guests and judges could only get a notice fee, which was completely incomparable to the situation in the mainland. The theme of Hong Kong New Voice was to encourage and support original works. If there were no generous rewards, how could it attract more powerful and talented singers and authors to participate enthusiastically? It was not enough to rely on Lu Gongxing's reputation alone. As the saying goes, there will always be brave men under great rewards. However, his good proposal made many people present a little embarrassed. Everyone knew their own situation. How could people in the circle not know the morality of Hong Kong TV station? Lu Gangxing said with a smile, "Then Hong Kong Sheng Media will donate 10 million yuan. Hong Kong Sheng Media was Lu Gongxing's own company. It was basically similar to a studio but on a larger scale. Lu Chun had donated 5 million yuan. As a top big shot in Hong Kong's entertainment circle and a superstar in the pop music world, it was impossible for him to donate less than Lu Chun. 10 million yuan. Everyone present knew that Lu Gangsheng was serious this time, because he had never spoken a lie. Madame Jean then said with a smile, "Then Madame Jean Entertainment will also support 5 million yuan. That would be 20 million yuan. Even as a reward fund, this number was quite dazzling, not to mention that it was just the beginning. Many people could not stand it anymore and immediately followed suit. Oriental Records will support 1 million yuan. I personally support 500,000 yuan. Chin's Media will support 1 million yuan. We, Chun Feier said with a smile, I personally support 2 million yuan. Just the total amount of people who donated and supported on the spot had steadily exceeded 50 million yuan. There were still many people who needed to report to their respective companies, and the amount would definitely increase later. This music salon with the theme of the past, present and future of Hong Kong's pop music turned out to be a fundraising meeting for an original talent competition, which made people more or less not know whether to laugh or cry. However, if one were to look at the essence from the surface, even though such a situation was largely accidental, there was also an inevitable element in the unseen world. That was the musicians of Hong Kong. They were worried about the present and future of Hong Kong's pop music. They were also seeking change and exploration. The appearance of Hong Kong New Singing was just in time. There was also a reason that most people could not say, and that was to learn from the mainland. We ATV are willing to host Hong Kong New Singing with high standards. At this time, a middle-aged man squeezed out of the crowd and said loudly, I guarantee that it will be the same standard as Sister Ye's selection. Everyone recognized that this middle-aged man was Lu Hanyang, the music director of ATV's variety channel. Haha. How can Sister Ye compare to Sister Hong? Before he finished speaking, another slightly hoarse voice immediately sounded. Such a program should naturally be hosted by our satellite TV for the best effect. The person who opposed Lu Hanyang was a short and strong man. And this person was the producer of Hong Kong satellite TV music channel, Li Mingyuan. Chapter 5:15. In the traditional media circle of Xiangjiang, Xiangjiang satellite TV and ATV were undoubtedly the real enemies. The feud between the two wireless hegemons could be traced back decades, and the entanglement could be made into a long drama of hundreds of episodes. The competition between them had been running through the history of Xiangjiang's screen. It was normal for the guests attending the Bell Tower Music Salon to include people from satellite TV and ATV. Whether it was the music director of ATV Variety Channel, Lu Hanyang, or the producer of satellite TV music channel Li Mingyuan, they could all be regarded as part of Xiangjiang's pop music scene. As musicians, none of them were fools to be able to sit in their respective positions today. From the topic of Lu Chun to Madame Jin's idea, to Lu Gongxing's expression of support, it finally evolved into a grand event of Xiangjiang's musicians. Lu Hanyang and Li Mingyuan were keenly aware of the smell of opportunity. When it came to variety shows, satellite TV and ATV were the best organizers. Every year, the ratings of satellite TV's Hong Kong sister selection and ATV's Asian sister selection had never been lower than 20%. However, it was an indisputable fact that the ratings of the two big sisters were decreasing year by year. Last year, the ratings of the semifinals of the Hong Kong sister selection once touched the bottom line of 20%. Xiangjiang Satellite TV spent a lot of effort and resources to finally not break the red line. The situation of the Asian sister selection was not much better. The reason was very simple. Under the impact of the internet, the traditional media did not have a good time. After decades of Hong Kong sister selection, there were no new tricks to play, and the audience began to feel aesthetic fatigue. Under such circumstances, seeking innovation and change became the pursuit of the program producers of the two major wireless stations. Xiangjiang New Singing was undoubtedly an excellent program. It had ideas, a source of funding, and the support of a heavenly king like Lu Gangsheng. It was difficult to fail. It was like a golden hen that had just jumped out of the wild. Who wouldn't want to carry it home? Lu Hanyang and Li Mingyuan suddenly became aggressive roosters, staring at each other and not giving in. If they missed the production of this promising talent competition, it would be hard for anyone to explain it when they went back. The smell of gunpowder between the two was getting stronger and stronger. Lu Gangsheng, who was very experienced, smiled and helped them out of the predicament. Don't argue for the time being. Right now, Hong Kong New Voice is just a preliminary idea. It's better for you to make a plan first and then show it to everyone. Whoever's plan is better will be chosen. What do you think? Heavenly King Lu deserved to be called Heavenly King Lu. He easily solved the dispute between the two of them, and also set up a new benchmark for Hong Kong New Voice. Big increase in operability. Whether it was the satellite TV or ATV, whichever plan was better would be chosen. The supporters of the project would vote on the plan, which was fair and reasonable. Lu Hanyang and Li Mingyuan had nothing to say, and the guests present all applauded in agreement. No one knew who started it, but warm applause sounded in the bar again. Because everyone had witnessed the birth of a grand event in the pop music world of Xiangjiang, which was likely to change the future of the music world of Xiangjiang. Lu Chan, Chanfei, Lu Gangsheng, and Madame Jean were surrounded by everyone. The applause was for them. Some of the people around them were well-known singers in the music world, some were seniors in the industry, and some were senior executives in the media. People like Yi Xian couldn't even squeeze into the top two circles. As for Zhang Wei, who had previously said that he would defeat Lu Chan, he could only shrink in the corner with a few friends. Compared to Lu Gangsheng, they were not even as good as the stars under the bright moon. Lu Gangsheng's appreciation for Lu Chan made Zhang Wei's previous provocation seem extremely ridiculous. At this time, the host of the music salon, Guo Huaiyan, finally appeared. He said with a smile, "Everyone, our chef has prepared today's special delicacies for you. Talking is important, but eating is equally important." One of the traditions of the Bell Tower Music Salon was that there was a reception dinner, which was usually a Western-style buffet. The chefs were famous chefs in Xiangjiang, and these Western-style chefs would take out their best works during the mealtime. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became relaxed. Everyone chatted and laughed as they went to taste the delicacies. Lu Gangsheng said to Lu Chan, "How about we eat something first and then we sit down and talk?" Lu Chan said with a smile, "That's exactly what I want." Lu Gangsheng looked like he was only in his 40s. He had a face that could leave a deep impression on people. He was handsome and resolute, and had the maturity and confidence of the years. In fact, this king of Xiangjiang was already 54 years old. In this superstar, Lu Chan saw the shadow of Tan Hong. The two were very similar in many ways. They were also the strongest in their respective fields. They had won so many awards that they lost interest. However, Tan Hong had chosen to retire early, and Lu Gangsheng was active in the singing and film circles. However, fame and fortune were not important to this king of Xiangjiang. He sincerely wanted to do something for the pop music of Xiangjiang, and wanted to save the Cantonese pop song that was currently in danger. This was the most important reason why Lu Gangsheng appreciated Lu Chan. It was because he saw the future hope of Chinese pop music in Lu Chan. For Lu Chan, it was really wonderful to be able to communicate with his idol in his youth like this. There was a kind of fulfillment of a dream that exceeded his wish. I really hope that you can stay in Xiangjiang. The king of Xiangjiang said to Lu Chan very seriously. Create more and better Cantonese songs. If you can't stay, please create more Cantonese works in the future. A good song like The Love of My Life. Lu Chan nodded and replied solemnly. I will work hard. Lu Gangsheng smiled and gave Lu Chan his personal business card. You can look for me at any time if you need anything. Lu Gangsheng rarely gave his personal business card to others, except for his real friends. Madame Jean said with a smile, I'll take a picture of you as a souvenir. Lu Gangsheng, who was about to leave, readily agreed. Not only did he take a picture with Lu Chan, but he also took several pictures with Chan Feier and the other three. Then, several of the photos were uploaded to his blog by Chan Feier with his mobile phone. It immediately caused a lot of sensation in her and Lu Chen's fan circle. Heavenly King Lu. Two new and old handsome guys taking a picture together, so cool. Could it be that Lu Gangsheng will also make a cameo appearance in the new movie? I like him very much. My Chun is so talented. Heavenly King Lu must appreciate it very much. I look forward to the cooperation between my Chan, Fei, and Heavenly King Lu. Cooperation +1. No matter how much the internet was buzzing for Lu Chan, the Bell Tower Music Salon was undoubtedly a key step for him to integrate into the Xiangjiang entertainment circle. 2 days later, Chan Feier, who had finished all the filming of A Chinese Ghost Story, left Xiangjiang. As a result, Lu Chen's first movie entered a rapid sprint. On December 29th, A Chinese Ghost Story was officially completed. Chapter 5:16. On November 25th, Lu Chen's first movie, A Chinese Ghost Story, officially started shooting at the old site of the Fane Temple in the Lion Rock Film and Television City in Hong Kong. On December 29th, A Chinese Ghost Story was officially completed. All in all, it only took slightly more than a month. During that period, filming was stopped for a few days due to an accident. This speed and efficiency was considered very high because A Chinese Ghost Story was not a shoddy fast food movie. In this movie, Lu Chan played many roles as director, male lead, screenwriter, and arranger. In order to make A Chinese Ghost Story, the hard work he put in was not something ordinary people could imagine. Especially in the later stages of filming, in order to catch up with the progress, Lu Chan often filmed from morning to night. He ate and lived on the set of the Lion Rock Film and Television City. It was common for him to stay up all night. Lu Chan had personally hand-drawn dozens of scripts. Together with Wan Xiaoquan and the art designers of the crew, the number of scripts was even more. Many of the script drawings were derived from his memory of the original, A Chinese Ghost Story, in the dream world. This made the shooting of the movie simpler and more accurate. Big also reduced the number of NGs during the shooting process. Many of the scenes were done in one go, which was why they could be completed in such a short period of time. However, finishing did not mean that it was over. The post-production special effects, editing, dubbing, and soundtrack were all very complicated work, especially in terms of special effects. It was normal for many blockbusters to take a year and a half to make special effects. Of course, there were not that many special effects for A Chinese Ghost Story, because more of the real scenes and props were used during the shooting process. However, the budget for special effects was not low. Lu Chan was not sure if it could be released in early February 2017. However, he could only hand over all the work to Wan Xiaoquan for the time being and flew back to Beijing. That was because December 31st was the day of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony. Lu Chan could not miss this music event no matter what. The Global Chinese Original Songs Chart was formed by the reorganization and merger of the Asian Chinese Music Chart and the Chinese Original Music Chart. Its standard was unparalleled in the Chinese music circle and far surpassed other Chinese music awards. Just look at the organizers of the Global Chinese Top Songs Chart, the Chinese Music Association, China Central Television, China Central Radio, and the Voice of China. There were 5 that started with the word medium, and the other joint organizations were even more dazzling. Any one of them was a well-known brand name. The first Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart of 2016 was held at the National Grand Theater. It was broadcasted live to the world by CCTV Variety Channel and Music Channel. In this grand ceremony of Chinese music, Lu Chan was undoubtedly one of the most prominent stars. In total, he was nominated for Best Male Singer, Best Album, Best Lyrics, and Best Composition. In addition, he was also nominated for Best Producer and Media Recommendation. In addition, Chun Fei-er was also nominated for Best Female Singer, Best Album, Best Stage Performance, and Media Recommendation. Among them, Best Album and Media Recommendation were in direct competition with Lu Chan. As the award ceremony approached, the blog had been flooded with the topic of the top original songs chart. The star singers of the domestic pop music industry took the lead to appear on the internet, making the topic extremely hot. Among them, the lovers' competition between Lu Chan and Chun Fei-er was undoubtedly a hot topic among the big topics. Especially for the best album, the fans were mainly divided into three factions. One faction supported Lu Chan, one faction supported Chun Fei-er, and the other faction was happy no matter who won the award. The best album must be My Phase. Which album in 2016 can compare with Woman Flower? Isn't Woman Flower My Chin's credit? The best album is not the best lyrics and best composition. It doesn't matter who wrote the song, understand? Personally, I think the overall quality of The Ordinary Road is better than Woman Flower. The best album doesn't mean it's the best-selling album, so I bet on Lu Chan to win. I support Chun Fei. She sang so well. I love Woman Flower and Sea of Faces. Stop arguing. Whether it's The Ordinary Road or Woman Flower, I support them both. According to the selection rules of the Global Chinese Top Original Songs chart, there were at most 5 nominees for an award, and only one winner. There would be no double yolk eggs or triple yolk eggs that people could not complain about. Therefore, the awards were very valuable. The high value also meant that the competition was fierce. It was said that it took the organizing committee a whole month to determine the nominees for the 24 awards of the Chinese Top Original Songs chart. As the biggest event of the year for Chinese pop bands, the Chinese Top Original Songs chart not only meant the highest glory of the Chinese pop music industry, but also rich benefits such as high bonuses and official recommendations. Have you ever thought about how many awards you'll get? At night, in the love nest built by the two of them in the Zhejiang district of the capital, Lu Chan, who had just flown back from Hong Kong, was leaning against the bed and reading the blog on his tablet. Chun Fei-er, who was wearing a nightgown, lay lazily on Lu Chan's body and naughtily used her hair to tickle his ear. She asked while tickling him, 2, 3, 4? Today was the first time for the two of them to meet in more than half a month. After their passionate love, they turned their attention back to the Global Chinese Top Original Songs chart that would be held the night after tomorrow. Chun Fei-er returned to the capital yesterday. She had not finished shooting all the scenes in Shangshi Long Song, but because she got 4 nominations for the Top Original Songs chart, the director happily gave her a leave. In the pop music industry, Chun Fei-er was also a person who had won many awards, but she was particularly interested in the first Global Chinese Top Original Songs chart. She had another goal to strive for. Lu Chan said with a wry smile, "You think too highly of me. To be honest, I'm very satisfied if I can get one." Lu Chan was not pretending to be modest, but his real thoughts. Although he got 6 nominations on the Chinese Top Original Songs chart, and was unparalleled among the younger generation of musicians, he faced strong competition for every award he was nominated for. It was still unknown who would win the award. Nominations and awards were two different things. In many music and film awards, it was common to hold a lot of nominations but get nothing in the end. The reasons involved were very complicated. Therefore, Lu Chan did not get carried away by the 6 nominations. He set his goal very low. He typed his answer on the keyboard and replied to a blog fan who asked the same question. Chapter 517. My goal is to win a prize. 9 o'clock in the evening is the peak time for netizens to surf the internet. In addition, mobile internet has become the mainstream trend, so as the largest social media in China, Wave's blog naturally has a high number of users. When Lu Chen's reply was sent out, it immediately attracted the attention of countless fans. Lu Chen's achievements today are inseparable from the support of loyal fans. Looking back on his journey of becoming famous, it is also closely related to the internet. He has the most supporters on the internet, one of which is represented by the growing number of Lu Jiajun. Many of the backbone of this fan support group are his loyal fans when he was doing live broadcasts on the internet. After becoming famous, Lu Chun not only did not forget these fans, but also paid more attention to interacting with fans on the internet. Some time ago, when he stayed up late to shoot in Hong Kong, he did not forget to take some time to chat with fans on his blog and talk about his work. This approach has made Lu Chun's fans very loyal. They feel that their idol is not unattainable. He is more like a friend who they don't often meet in life, and they are very grounded. Tien. For Lu Chen's reply, the fans responded more enthusiastically, and there was a flood of comments on the blog. A prize? Boss, you're too modest. At least 3 awards: the best male singer, the best lyrics, and the best composition. What about the best album? Give the best album to me, Faye. After all, we should keep the goodies to ourselves. If I can't get more than 2 big prizes, I will live broadcast eating my keyboard on my blog. I will not go back on my word. Eat it too. Some comments are interesting and some are very exaggerated, but basically there are more support and praise and more confidence in Lu Chun to win the prize. This to a large extent reflects the popularity of Lu Chun today. Although he went to Hong Kong to shoot a movie some time ago, the number of fans of Wave's blog has increased. More and more people fell in love with Lu Chun's songs and his works. Many people got to know Lu Chun through the 2 popular TV series, Autumn in My Heart and Full House of Romance, and then listened to his songs. As a result, they became Lu Chun's fans. As his fans, they naturally hoped that Lu Chun could achieve success on the global Chinese top songs chart. After all, the first Chinese top songs chart represented the highest achievement in the Chinese pop music world. For Lu Chun, having such a group of passionate, kind, and adorable fans was undoubtedly a very heartwarming thing. He tried his best to reply to some of the comments, unknowingly forgetting the passage of time. When Lu Chun turned off the tablet, he found that Chun Feier, who was leaning against his arms, had fallen asleep. Saturday, December 31st, the last day of 2016. The rainy weather that lasted for many days finally ended, and the capital ushered in a rare sunny day at the end of December. The early winter was not too cold. Beautiful women in beautiful long dresses could be seen everywhere in the streets and alleys, letting their long legs exposed in the wind, showing off their youthful beauty. In the afternoon, traffic control was implemented on the roads around the National Grand Theater, and further places were blocked, so the traffic department had to send more people to clear the way. It was not dark yet, and the welcome signature wall in front of the main entrance of the National Grand Theater had been set up. A long red carpet was spread out for 100 meters, and countless media reporters with long cameras and short cannons were waiting on both sides of the red carpet, waiting for the ceremony to begin. Behind the reporters there was a large number of audience, most of whom were young people. Many of them were holding fluorescent cards or support sticks with their names written on them. Their excited faces made the atmosphere of the scene more and more enthusiastic. A large number of security personnel were on guard, because they knew that there were many stars walking on the red carpet today. It could be said that the top stars of the Chinese music industry from both sides of the Taiwan Strait and the 3 regions had gathered. Once the fans saw their idols and went crazy, the scene would not be easy to control. At about 5 o'clock in the evening, the lights on both sides of the welcome signature wall were turned on, and the people gathered in the square in front of the National Grand Theater had reached its peak. Fortunately, there were many large live broadcast screens arranged around to disperse the crowd. Otherwise, it would be hard to imagine how crowded both sides of the red carpet would be. At 6 o'clock, pedestrians were only allowed to exit in the restricted area. The first black welcome car drove to the starting point of the red carpet under the attention of thousands of people and stopped steadily. The door opened, and a middle-aged man in a suit got out and stood on the red carpet. In an instant, countless flashes lit up, shining on his face and body, and the middle-aged man was obviously used to it. He still smiled and waved to the audience around him. "Yu Ming!" The crowd immediately burst into earth-shattering shouts. This elegant middle-aged man was Yu Ming, a big brother in the domestic pop music industry. He made his debut in the late 1980s and rose to prominence in the early 1990s. In the past 30 years he had released more than a dozen solo albums, conquered a large number of fans with folk songs and love songs, and also won the love of countless people. At the red carpet ceremony of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart Award ceremony, the first guest to appear was Yu Ming, who also deserved his fame. Enjoying the baptism of the flashes and the cheers of the fans, Yu Ming walked the long red carpet alone in high spirits. After him, the big stars, superstars, and idols in the domestic Hong Kong and Taiwan appeared one by one. Tan Hong, Liao Jia, Su Yingying, Lu Gangsheng, Anan. The thunderous names kept ringing in the square in front of the National Grand Theatre, and the light from the flashes never stopped. The Chinese music industry ushered in the first original songs chart, and also ushered in the real glory moment. Lu Chun appeared in the 12th place. Although it wasn't his first time walking the red carpet, when the door opened and he got out of the car, he was greeted by the sound waves and dazzling lights, which made his heart jump. Tonight, the National Grand Theatre was the stage of the pop music festival. Was it also a stage that belonged to him? Lu Chun took a deep breath. He saw in the crowd not far away, someone was desperately holding up a fluorescent card with his name written on it. Lu Chun. Lu Chun. The big shots in front of him did not affect Lu Chun's popularity. In the crowd of onlookers who knew how many fans were shouting his name, as well as the long and short guns aimed at him, this was also a glorious moment for him. This feeling was intoxicating. Lu Chun smiled, then turned around and reached out his hand to the car. He did not come alone. Chun Feier. Chapter 518. Chun Feier. The cheers from the crowd suddenly became louder. Fluorescent signs with Chun Feier's name written on them were raised high, and the pink light shone on the young faces. These were Chun Feier's hardcore fans. They had rushed to the front square of the National Grand Theatre in advance and waited for several hours just for this moment. In waves of cheers, Chun Feier, who was wearing the latest Chanel dress, got out of the welcome car. 2 moving cameras followed her figure, followed her and Lu Chun walking hand in hand on the red carpet. This scene was transmitted to thousands of TV screens and the internet at the speed of light through the live camera. It was witnessed by hundreds of millions of people, and it also made countless fans of the two excited. Nobody knew when it started, but the scene of Lu Chun and Chun Fei, holding hands, began to appear frequently on the camera. Everyone also realized that the same scene would appear many, many times. The two held hands and walked on the long red carpet unhurriedly. The media reporters on both sides pressed the shutters desperately to record this beautiful moment. Today, Lu Chun was wearing a custom-made Armani suit. The master-level design matched with first-class fabric and excellent tailoring, which made him look even more handsome. He strode with his long legs, as if he was walking on the scene of a fashion show. Chun Feier's plain white sleeveless dress was a perfect match for him. The hot queen of pop music was half naked, and she was extremely sexy and charming. It made the cameramen on the scene feel that it was worth it no matter how much memory they used. Among the guests who came to the Global Chinese Golden Songs Award ceremony at the National Grand Theatre, Lu Chun and Chun Feier were undoubtedly not the most famous or the most popular stars, but they were definitely the most eye-catching couple. They came to the front of the guest signature wall together, and the etiquette lady handed them autograph pens. Lu Chun and Chun Feier signed their names on it respectively, and then took a photo to leave a message. When they came down from the autograph table, a reporter from CCTV came over to interview them. The big camera was aimed at them first. The beautiful female reporter smiled and asked, "Mr. Lu Chun, Miss Chun Feier, how many awards are you going to take home today? Have you ever thought about it?" Lu Chun and Chun Feier looked at each other and smiled. The two of them had been asked this question countless times on the blog. The two of them had a total of 10 nominations, 2 of which overlapped, so in theory they could take home a maximum of 8 awards. But this was obviously unrealistic. Lu Chun smiled and said, "My goal is to win one. I don't want to be satisfied with nothing." Chun Feier smiled lightly and said, "Me too." The female reporter laughed and said, "The two of you are really the best couple in the pop music industry. Your thoughts are the same and you are both very humble. In the online media survey, your popularity index is very high." She asked again, "But if you can only win one award, which one will you choose?" This question was a bit tricky. "That depends on the judges," Lu Chun said. "I don't mean what I say. But personally, I hope it's the best male singer." Big and small awards were included in the Global Chinese Gold Songs chart, And the Best Male Singer was undoubtedly one of the most important and valuable awards. Modesty was necessary. Excessive modesty would appear hypocritical. If Liu Chan really had to choose among the 6 nominations, he hoped to win this award the most. Moreover, he had enough confidence. Looking back at the entire Chinese music industry in 2016, Liu Chan was definitely one of the most eye-catching male singers. After his second album, The Ordinary Road was officially released. Not only did it sell well, but it also surpassed last year's You Who Sat Next to Me in terms of evaluation. He was unique in the pop music industry and established his own position. If You Who Sat Next to Me was a work that made him famous, then The Ordinary Road was a work that made him stand out. His work even changed the rules of the original music chart. Undoubtedly, he deserved to win the Best Male Singer of the Year. Of course, there were many factors for winning the highest level of music awards like the Global Chinese Gold Songs chart. Strength, popularity, reputation, luck and even connections were all important. But in Liu Chan's heart, the Best Male Singer was the best affirmation of himself. What about Miss Chen Feier? The CCTV female reporter pointed the microphone at Chen Feier again. Which one will you choose? Chen Feier looked at Liu Chan and said with a smile, the best female singer. Liu Chan chose the Best Male Singer, and she chose the Best Female Singer. It was a little unexpected but reasonable. If Liu Chan was qualified to win the Best Male Singer, then the Best Female Singer was basically reserved by Chen Feier. In the pop music world in 2016, there was no more brilliant female singer than her. The album Woman Flower sold 5 or 6 million copies, creating the best result in the music industry in the past 10 years. No one could match the achievement of The Crown, and it made Chen Feier's status as the heavenly queen unshakable. Most importantly, with the help of Woman Flower, Chen Feier completed a gorgeous transformation. She transformed from the queen of sweet songs to the queen of love songs, and her career took a new step. In the online survey of CCTV, Chen Feier received 48.49% of the support for the Best Female Singer, leaving several other competitors far behind. Although this online survey did not affect the results of the awards, the torrential public opinion could not be ignored by any judge. Then I wish the two of you can achieve your wishes and win the Best Male Singer and the Best Female Singer at the same time. The CCTV female reporter gave her blessings and said, achieve a good story in the Chinese Gold Songs chart. Liu Chan and Chen Feier replied at the same time, thank you. If the two really won the Best Male and Female Singer award, it would really be a good story to talk about. And those fans sitting in front of TVs and computers, or holding tablets and mobile phones to watch the live broadcast, were also aroused by the blessings of the CCTV female reporter. Especially in the Liu Chan anchor room of WeTV, it was instantly flooded with barrage. According to the past practice, the Liu Chan anchor room broadcast the whole process of the Global Chinese Gold Songs Chart Award ceremony. Although Liu Chan was not the host himself, the number of online fans still exceeded the 1 million mark, and it was still increasing. Since Liu Chan's debut, this has been one of the important positions of his fan support group. Many fans began to pay attention to him when Liu Chan was unknown. Until now, they still have not abandoned him and love him more and more. The focus of everyone's discussion immediately shifted to the topic of the best male and female singers. Chapter 519. I bet 50 cents that the best male and female singer will definitely fall into my Chen's hands. Put away your 50 cents and go home to buy a popsicle to eat. Do you understand the principle of death in hot weather? I think it's very dangerous. My Chen's best singer is a bit dangerous, but your Fei's best female singer should not be a problem. I have nothing to say to you. If the best male and female singer are given to someone else, I swear I will never look at the Golden Song chart. Don't quarrel, everyone. The results haven't come out yet. The anchor room was in full swing, and the noise was earth-shattering. Many fans firmly believed that there was no suspense for the best male and female singer. But more fans were not so sure, and some even believed that both of them would lose. Why? Because it's impossible for there to be no tricks in this kind of award. It's not the first time that Liu Chan has been suppressed. It's good to win the award, but don't be disappointed if you can't win it. Liu Chan's talent and strength don't need to be proved by a prize, so it's better for everyone to keep calm. As they talked, many fans were influenced and felt that they should lower their goal. For example, the best composition or best lyrics are also good. As Lu Chan said, "It's good not to get nothing. Otherwise it would be too shameful to get nothing out of 6 nominations." Just as the internet was abuzz with discussion, Lu Chan and Chen Fei entered the main hall of the National Grand Theatre hand in hand and sat in their seats. As early as February this year, Lu Chan came to the National Grand Theatre. At that time he participated in the Asian Chinese Music Chart and received 4 nominations. In the end he won 2 Golden Lark Awards for Best Newcomer and Best Composition. This Asian Chinese Music Chart was also the last one, because it has been merged into the Global Chinese Music Chart, but the glory of that night is still fresh in Lu Chen's memory. It was with the 2 Golden Lark Awards that Lu Chan established his position in the Chinese pop music world. At that time his relationship with Chen Fei had not been officially announced. In a sense, the National Grand Theatre is his lucky place. So this time he has a total of 6 nominations. How many prizes can he win in the end? Lu Chan was also looking forward to the results. The main hall of the National Center for the Performing Arts had a total of 5,000 seats. Lu Chan and Chen Fei were seated on the right side of the second row. Sitting in the same row were many familiar faces. Tan Hong, Liao Jia, Li Xing, Su Ying. They were all superstars in the Chinese music industry. Lu Chan also saw Lu Gangsheng, who smiled and waved at him, attracting the attention of the people around them. Tonight was undoubtedly a grand gathering of the Chinese pop music industry. At 7:30 in the evening, the main hall of the National Center for the Performing Arts was full of 5,000 seats. Under the brilliant lights, cameras were faithfully recording everything from different angles. The huge screen on the big stage slowly lit up, and the golden words Global Chinese Original Songs Award Ceremony shone brightly. The white mist formed by dry ice filled the air. Together with the special lighting of the scene, it gave people a dreamy feeling. Soft music began to play, and the hall quickly quietened down. The host officially appeared on stage. According to the usual practice, the host of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award Ceremony was still a big shot of CCTV. The audience was very familiar with the 4-person group of 2 men and 2 women, respected leaders and distinguished guests. Dear audience at the scene and in front of the TV, good evening everyone. It was still a familiar voice. However, the 5,000 audience at the scene, including the big stars of the pop music industry in front of them, listened carefully to the opening remarks of the 4 hosts, which were like poetry recitation. As soon as the last sentence was finished, the audience burst into thunderous applause. The Global Chinese Original Songs Award Ceremony officially began with celebratory singing and dancing. Interestingly, as the first song and dance performance of the opening program, they actually chose Lu Chen's "I Love You, China" as the theme song, and the singer was a well-known singer. Her singing skills were better than Lu Chen's. She sang the essence of this work with a strong theme in the bel canto style, and also brought a wave of climax to the atmosphere of the audience. "You wrote this song really well." Tan Hong suddenly turned his head and said to Lu Chan, "Write a few more similar songs in the future. It will be good for you." Tan Hong won the Lifetime Achievement Award at the last Asian Chinese Original Songs Award. Now he had basically said goodbye to the music industry and rarely appeared in public. This time Tan Hong didn't get any nomination for the first Global Chinese Original Songs chart, but he was invited to come to support. His seat was next to Lu Chan. For Tan Hong's kind reminder, Lu Chan quickly replied, "I know, Brother Tan." During this time Lu Chan had finished filming TV shows and movies. He sang less and wrote less, but he did not forget his roots. He was preparing to release his 3rd album in the middle of next year. There was also a solo concert, which was already in the studio's plan. Tan Hong smiled and patted him on the shoulder saying, "You have always done a good job. Keep it up." Lu Chan nodded hard. While they were talking, the song and dance performance was over. The 4 hosts appeared again and announced the first award. The first award of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award was the Best Newcomer of the Year award. There were a total of 5 nominees, all of whom were newcomers in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan this year. After some suspenseful comments, the famous singer Yu Zhaoan finally revealed the mystery. The winner of the Best Newcomer of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award is Xiao Yao. As soon as his voice fell, 4 of the 5 candidates on the background big screen disappeared in an instant, and the remaining one was enlarged and highlighted. The sky was full of flowers, and the celebratory music rang through the whole audience. Congratulations, Xiao Yao. In the corner of the audience, several people jumped up excitedly, hugged and shouted at each other. The camera's lens swept over and fixed on one of the beautiful women, which was displayed on the big screen. It gave the protagonist a close-up with tears streaming down her face. There was a warm applause in the audience. They went on stage, received the award, gave a speech, thanked. The second award was the Best Newcomer Group of the Year. Among the 5 nominated groups, the Little Tigers, which had just been established this year, was included. Sister Lee, with her son and the members of the Little Tigers, sat in the third row, more than 10 meters away from Lu Chan and Chan Fei. It could be seen that Sister Lee was still very nervous, so she did not notice the 2 people looking at her with concern. Liao Jia was in charge of announcing the winners. This big brother in the music industry, who was famous for his straightforward temper, did not play any suspense. He directly tore open the envelope and drew out the list of winners. His eyes were fixed on the thin paper. Then he said 3 words. The Little Tigers. Chapter 520. Little Tiger Group. When Liao Jia read out these 3 words, Zhang Juanji, Yu Yang and Hu Iran, who were nervously waiting for the result, were stunned at first, and then as if awakening from a dream, they jumped up from their seats with a smile on their faces. Jumping up together with them were the fans of the Little Tiger Group. They held up their support fluorescent signs and shouted the names of the 3 people. They were as excited as if they had won a prize. These fans have one thing in common, that is, they are very young. Many of them appeared at the scene accompanied by their parents. Although the number of people was not very large, the atmosphere created was extremely warm. Global Chinese Original Gold Songs list Best Newcomer Group of the Year, Little Tiger Group. The Little Tiger Group is a boy group that was just formed this year. It has only been a short time since their debut. However, relying on their debut album Butterflies Fly, and their excellent performance on Singing China, they quickly gathered a large number of fans and became the most dazzling newcomer group in the domestic pop music world. The Little Tiger Group focuses on the style of youth. The 3 handsome teenagers have conquered countless peers with their excellent singing voice, handsome style and enthusiastic dance steps. The sales of their debut album have exceeded 2 million. This year, the domestic pop music world was a year of explosive physical album sales. The CD, which was regarded as being on the verge of elimination, seemed to have suddenly regained its powerful charm. Chen Feier's Woman Flower, Lu Chen's The Ordinary Road, and the Little Tiger Group's Butterflies Fly have all come up with a proud report card. Although a large part of CDs are sold on the basis of limited edition bundles, the influence of these best-selling albums is great. The albums released by many singers this year have significantly increased the sales of CDs, and even the very small number of professional CD players have been sold several times more than in previous years. Such a phenomenon makes many people in the industry feel incredible. Because of the weakness of CD's low capacity and low portability, it is the general trend to be completely replaced by digital music. Nowadays, the sales of singers' albums include digital albums and storage media such as USB drives. Who would have thought that the traditional CD would make a comeback? And the albums sold by the Little Tiger Group, single CD accounts for only a small proportion. Most of them are bundled with peripheral products, earning higher profits. Among the 12 to 18-year-old age group, this boy group already has great popularity. Therefore, there was no doubt that they would win the Best Newcomer Duo of the Year tonight. After Zhang Juanji jumped up, he immediately turned around and hugged his mother. Big close-up shots of the mother and son were immediately given by the live camera. The hundreds of millions of viewers at the venue and in front of their televisions could clearly see the tears flowing down Sister Lee's face. They were sparkling tears of joy. Those who knew and understood Sister Lee all knew about her past, and how hard it was for Zhang Juanji to obtain the glory he had today. All of them gave her a warm round of applause. The audience burst into thunderous applause. The 3 youths ascended the stage one by one and received the award from the hands of the presenter. Zhang Juanji gave an acceptance speech on behalf of the Little Tigers. He first waved the golden trophy in his hand and then said to the microphone, "Thank you everyone. Thank you for the Global Chinese Original Songs Committee's recognition. Here I would like to thank my mother first. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today and tomorrow. So I would like to say, Mom, I love you. The last sentence was almost shouted out by Zhang Juanji at the top of his voice. In the main hall of the National Grand Theater, applause exploded again. Everyone was cheering for his speech. Sister Li was still crying, but her smile was particularly happy. After calming down his excitement, Zhang Juanji went on to say, "In addition to my mother, I would like to thank teacher Lu Chan second. You are our best teacher and we love you too." The camera quickly gave a close-up shot of Lu Chan in the guest seat. Lu Chan raised his arms with a smile on his face and gave a thumbs up to the stage at the same time. Zhang Juanji continued, "I hope you can win all the nominated awards." Was this a child's babble? Laughter rang out in the guest seats and the audience, and then there was applause. The sincerity of the youth was the easiest to move people's hearts. After the best newcomer group, it was the best male group and female group. Among them, MSN was nominated for the best female group, and won this important award with the album, Not Yet Lovers. As the first female group under Flying Stone Records, MSN was undoubtedly one of the most popular female groups in the domestic pop music world. Their debut album, Not Yet Lovers, released last year, had already won double platinum. They had more than 10 million fans on Waves blog, and received a lot of notices, commercial performances, and endorsements. At the last Asian Chinese Gold Songs Chart Award ceremony, MSN was defeated by the July Sky Group in the Best Newcomer Group. Now the three girls finally proved themselves with a more valuable Global Chinese Gold Songs Chart Award, and they also won the throne of the first female group in the Chinese music world. Mu Xiaochu delivered an award speech on behalf of MSN. Her first thanks was to Lu Chan. At this time, the audience suddenly discovered that although Lu Chan had not won a prize so far, his name had already appeared in the mouths of the two winners, and the weight was heavy. Looking back at 2016, among the groups in the pop music world, MSN and the newly rising Little Tiger Group were undoubtedly the two brightest stars, and their success was inseparable from Lu Chan. Compared with last year, MSN's popularity was higher, and its position in the circle was unshakable. Their Not Yet Lovers, Where's Love? He Still Doesn't Understand, and the singles Ocean of Love and Tropical Rainforest released this year, were incomparable on the original music chart and became popular songs played on the streets. These works were all created by Lu Chan. The success of MSN has also brought about a wave of beautiful girl groups in the domestic entertainment industry. This year there were as many as a dozen new girl groups and the influence could be seen. As for the Little Tiger Group, there was no need to mention. At least half of the credit for the success of Butterfly Flight was due to Lu Chan. He used his amazing talent to make the two new groups soar to the sky, and became the biggest contributor behind the two awards. The glory of MSN and the Little Tiger Group was also the glory of Lu Chan. After the two best male and female groups, there were several other awards that had nothing to do with Lu Chan, such as Best Music Video, Best Arrangement, etc., each of which had its own winner. Then his first nomination appeared, Best Producer. Chapter 521. Among the 24 awards in the Global Chinese Original Gold Songs list, the Best Producer is a very important award, because the producer itself belongs to a very high level of existence in the circle. A truly excellent music producer, professional quality and talent are indispensable. He is more reclusive behind the scenes, and his name is hidden in the corner of the cover of the CD record. But his importance is beyond doubt. There are many excellent producers in the domestic pop music world. Basically, they work for major record entertainment companies, or have their own independent door. The other four nominees with Lu Chan are all well-known figures in the industry. Tian. Not sure what to do. Lu Chan was nominated for Best Producer with his own, The Ordinary Road. To be honest, he really doesn't have much ambition for this award. Because the Best Producer, to a large extent, is determined by the connections of the nominees in the circle. And the fact was as Lu Chan expected. The winner of the Best Producer is Tan Hong, as the guest of honor, opened the envelope and calmly announced the name of the winner. Zhu Yu. His award-winning work is If There Is Tomorrow! Accompanied by warm applause from the audience, a middle-aged man stood up a few meters away from Lu Chan. He waved his fist hard, hugged his friends and colleagues around him to congratulate him, and then went on stage to receive the award. Zhu Yu is the music director of Sunshine Records, a well-known domestic record company. He is a classmate of Lin Jijia. the director of Flying Stone Records. In his more than 20 years of career, he has supervised hundreds of records, and it is not the first time that he has won the Best Producer. His strength is recognized in the industry. It is completely reasonable for him to beat 4 competitors, including Lu Chan, to win this award, and his nominated album is indeed excellent. Of course, there are many people who are disappointed, especially the fans of Lu Chan in the anchor room of Whale TV. He didn't win the first one. It's a pity. Zhu Yu? Who is this? I've never heard of him. How can he win? Never heard of +1. To be reasonable, it's normal for you not to have heard of the producer. We only know the singer when we listen to the record. It's so disappointing. I bet that Lu Chan can win all 6 nominations. Aha, it's impossible to get all 6. Don't worry, there's still more. No matter what, I will always support Lu Chan. Although there were many fans who complained and made sour remarks, there were also those who treated them with tolerance and a normal heart. After all, it was completely unrealistic for Lu Chan to win an award with only 6 nominations. There was no point in keeping an eye on the Best Producer award that had already been lost. Moreover, many fans felt that the Best Producer award was nothing special. After the Best Producer award, there were a few more small awards in a row, and there was even a song and dance performance in between. Central TV was definitely a top-notch expert when it came to organizing galas. They had made the award ceremony look spectacular, and the program was also carefully selected. Not to mention the creative concept, just the strong cast and the brilliant background design were enough to make the audience feel pleasing to the eye. Of course, for the fans who couldn't wait to see Lu Chan win the award, it was a bit torturous. Lu Chan's second nomination was for the Best Lyrics Award, and his nominated work was The Ordinary Road. The Best Lyrics Award was worth a lot of money, although it was generally believed that the importance of the composition of a song was big than the lyrics. Good lyrics and bad lyrics had a completely different impact on the work itself. Just like producers in the pop music circle, lyricists were also very strong. The winner of the Best Producer Award is Li Yunfang. In the end, the fans who were looking forward to Lu Chan winning the award were disappointed again. The Best Lyrics Award of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart was won by the famous writer and lyricist Li Yunfang. Lu Chan's 2 consecutive nominations failed, which inevitably made people's hearts become subtle. In less than 2 years since his debut, Lu Chan has opened up a world of his own in the Chinese music world with his bare hands. His talent and popularity are obvious to all. He deserves to be nominated 6 times on the Golden Melody chart. Tian, not bad. However, being nominated didn't mean that he would win a big award, especially for a high-standard award like the Chinese Original Songs chart. The birth of any award might be accompanied by games and compromises. It was not incredible that Lu Chan, who had 6 nominations, won nothing in the end. Compared with his talent and strength, his foundation and connections in the circle were much worse. After the Best Lyrics Award was the Best Composition Award. It was Lu Chan's nomination award again. The Best Composition Award was second only to the Best Male and Female Singer Award. Among the 5 nominees, the other 4 of Lu Chan's opponents were all well-known figures in the industry for many years. The guest in charge of announcing the winner was none other than Lu Gangsheng from Hong Kong. Because Lu Gangsheng didn't release any album or single in 2016, he was not nominated in the first Chinese Original Songs chart. However, as a top star in the Chinese music industry, he was still invited to tonight's award ceremony. The King of Hong Kong walked on the stage and waved to the audience from time to time, which attracted a burst of warm applause and cheers, fully showing his great popularity in the mainland. Taking the envelope from the etiquette lady, Lu Gangsheng opened it with a smile. At this moment, the covers of the 5 nominees' works appeared on the big screen in the background of the stage. Lu Chan's nomination for the Best Composition Award was Jiangnan. This song was first sung by Lu Chan at the fan meeting in Hangzhou in August this year, and then quickly spread out and became one of his most popular representative works. There was a period of time when the song Jiangnan was repeatedly played in the streets and alleys of Jiangnan. It only took 2 weeks for it to reach the top of the original music chart, but it occupied the top position for 5 weeks and became one of the most requested pop songs on major radio stations. Many well-known music critics wrote comments on this song. among which the highest praise was that Lu Chan created a new style of music. So now, could Lu Chan win the Best Composition Award with Jiangnan? In the main hall of the National Grand Theater, hundreds of audiences stared at Lu Gangsheng standing on the stage, and there were even more people waiting for the results in front of the TV and computers. Lu Gangsheng took out the letter unhurriedly. He glanced at the printed text and was surprised. The next moment, his surprise turned into a smile, and he said loudly in Mandarin with a Hong Kong accent, "The winner of the Best Composition Award is Lu Chan Jiangnan." Although he was mentally prepared, Lu Chan was still shocked at this moment. "Congratulations!" Until Chun Feier gently hugged him. The moment of glory that truly belonged to Lu Chan had finally arrived. Chapter 522. Lu Chan was the first to lose the Best Producer of the Global Chinese Original Gold Songs list. He had no chance of winning the Best Lyrics. 2 of the 6 nominations that Lu Chan had received had been lost, which gave people a very bad feeling. The curse of certain death seemed to hover over the National Grand Theater, becoming a dark cloud over the heads of all the people who paid attention to him. If he lost the Best Composition, then Lu Chan might go away dismally tonight. Maybe some people would gloat, but his fans would definitely be extremely disappointed. When Lu Gangsheng took out the letter, the atmosphere in Welta Lu Chen's studio was very tense, even to the point of depression. Even the barrage became sparse, and no one gave any rewards. Then the next moment they got the first surprise of the night. The winner of the Best Composition is Lu Chan. Lu Chan, it's really Lu Chan. He defeated 4 powerful opponents and won the crown of the Best Composition. The audience burst into thunderous applause. Looking back at the Chinese pop music world in 2016, there was indeed no better singer and composer than Lu Chan. His talent and originality was simply stunning. Not only did he bring himself to the peak of his music career, but he also had a huge and far-reaching impact on the music industry. In 2016, Lu Chan had created a lot of works, many of which were classics. Jiangnan was only one of the representatives, and it could not fully represent Lu Chen's strength. He deserved the Best Composition. The applause for Lu Chan was not only from the audience and fans, but also from the other 4 nominees. Many people even stood up to congratulate him. The live broadcast room of Whale TV was simply boiling. Hooray! The Best Composition! Don't say anything. I'll reward an aircraft carrier first. Don't stop me. At this moment, only sprinkling fish balls can express my mood. My Chun is mighty. Don't worry, it's just the beginning. There are still 3 big prizes behind. Haha, I guessed right. There really is the Best Composition. Lu Chan, you can do it. Along with the crazy barrage of comments, there were fish balls falling like raindrops, as well as a domineering aircraft carrier. These aircraft carriers, which represented the highest reward amount, were not just 1 or 2 aircraft carriers. Instead, the number of aircraft carriers was increased by several times, or even more than 10 times by the nouveau riche fans. The one with the most number of aircraft carriers had reached 100 combo. In other words, just this fan with the ID loves Lu Chan the most had sent 100,000 yuan to Lu Chan in less than a minute. Ever since Lu Chan entered the film and television industry, he had less time to interact with his fans in the live broadcast room. Such a scene had not appeared for a long time. Due to his great success through online live broadcasting, many star artists in the circle have noticed this huge fan market. Therefore, Whale TV signed a number of new idol artists in 2016, all of whom have gained high popularity, challenging Lu Chen's position as the #1 star anchor of Whale TN, Whale TV. But tonight, Lu Chan easily proved that his position in Whale TV was unshakable with the Best Composition Award. In just a few minutes, the number of rewards he received broke the 1 million mark, setting a new record for Whale TV. Lu Chan hugged Chun Feier, and then hugged Tan Hong and Liao Jia. These 2 big brothers in the music industry have given him a lot of advice and help. The help of these friends is indispensable for him to be able to go so smoothly in the pop music industry. In the continuous warm applause, Lu Chan walked onto the star-studded stage. Congratulations! Lu Gangsheng handed the award in his hand to Lu Chan with a smile and gave him a big hug. Lu Chan nodded hard. Thank you. Lu Gangsheng patted him on the back and then stepped aside, willing to be the supporting role of the protagonist. Holding the golden and heavy award in his hand, Facing thousands of guests and audiences, Lu Chun, who was standing in front of the microphone, was filled with emotion. The applause gradually subsided, and everyone's eyes were focused on him. Lu Chun thought for a moment, then said to the microphone, "First of all, I am honored to attend the award ceremony of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart tonight. Thank you to the organizing committee for giving me such recognition and support. Most importantly, I am very grateful to the organizing committee for arranging Brother Hong Sheng to present the award to me, because he has always been my idol. Thank you, Brother Hong Sheng." There was warm applause again, and the camera of the live broadcast focused on Lu Gangsheng. The superstar from Hong Kong smiled and cupped his hands. Lu Chun then said, "In the past year I have written a lot of songs. Jiangnan is a very special work. Thank you for your recognition and love. I will continue to work hard to create more and better works in the new year. Thank you again." With that, he bowed deeply to show his respect. In the even more warm applause, Lu Chun walked off the stage with the award and returned to his seat. Chun Fair asked with a smile, "Are you very happy?" Lu Chun smiled and said, "I'm very happy. Come and share it with us." He handed the award in his hand to Chun Fair. Chun Fair took it and almost dropped it to the ground. She said in surprise, "It's so heavy." The award for the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart was the same as the award for the Asian Chinese Original Songs Chart, and it still used the name Golden Lark, which was familiar to the public. However, compared with the original Golden Lark, the redesigned award was smoother and more outstanding. The lark spreading its wings and singing was lifelike, and the image of soaring into the sky was more meaningful. The change in the design was secondary. The most important thing was that the gold content of the award had been increased big. The original Golden Lark was made of copper and gilded on the outside. Not to mention the lightweight, it would fade after a long time. And now, the new award stands were made of solid copper core with multiple layers of gold plating. Each award stand contained more than 50 grams of gold. The base of the award stand was also inlaid with gems and crushed diamonds. The production cost was very high. Therefore, even if there were many winners of the Best Group Award, they could only share one award. Previously, Chun Fair had been nominated for the Best Stage Performance Award. Unfortunately, she did not win it, so the two of them had a total of 10 nominations. The first to win the award was Lu Chun. "But don't be too proud." Chun Fair, who had let Lu Chun show off, said proudly, "I won't lose to you." The next award was the Media Recommendation Award. Interestingly, both Lu Chun and Chun Fair were nominated. They were competitors for this award. Chapter 523. Before the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart was born, the three major domestic pop music awards all included the Media Recommendation Award. The Media Recommendation Award was a very special award. It was the only award that was not selected by the judges or the audience. Instead, it was recommended by various traditional and online media. There were a total of 235 media recommending the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart, which basically included the three major special zones and many important overseas Chinese media. Therefore, the Media Recommendation Award was very important. It was bigger than the original three major music awards. In addition to Lu Chun and Chun Fair, there were three other real celebrities who were nominated for the Media Recommendation Award. The competition was no less fierce than the most important awards such as Best Male and Female Singer, Best Album, and so on. Accompanied by the exciting music, the close-up photos of the five nominees appeared on the big screen in the background. Lu Chun and Chun Fair were listed side by side in the middle, which made the audience laugh. It was very interesting. These two popular singers were a couple. Now they were competing on the same stage. No one knew who would win or would they both lose. The guest who announced the award was Huang Yuan, the CEO of Waves blog. As the founder of the largest new media in the country, he was undoubtedly one of the best representatives of many entertainment-related media. Huang Yuan was only in his 30s this year. He was dressed in a well-ironed suit and looked energetic. He opened the envelope with a smile and directly announced the answer. The winner of the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart by Media Recommendation Award is Miss Chun Fair. Chun Fair. Chun Fair won the Media Recommendation Award and got her first personal award. This result was not unexpected, because in the past year, Chun Fair had been the darling of the major domestic media. Her album Woman Flower, her successful transformation, her 2 TV series. God knows how much material has been provided for the media. Her personal portrait has also appeared on the cover of more than 10 fashion and entertainment media, and there are countless other headlines. At the same time, the big screen showed Chen Feier's votes. 109. This was a very high number. After all, the total number of votes was only 235, and she took nearly half of it. In the applause, Chen Feier went on the stage to receive the award, and then gave a brief acceptance speech. After coming back, she smiled and shook her award to Lu Chen. Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. But this was obviously not Chen Feier's real moment, because the first super heavyweight award of the night was coming soon. Best Female Singer. It was recognized in the industry that in any pop music awards, Best Male Singer, Best Female Singer, and Best Album were the 3 most important awards, representing the highest glory of singers. The weight was the heaviest, so of course the competition was the fiercest. In the past, in some pop music awards, there were many strange things where many singers won the Best Male and Female Singer awards at the same time. In fact, it was also because of this competition. And the selection rules of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart limited the winner to only one, so as to ensure the value of the award. Therefore, the competition was even stronger. Which singer didn't want to win this award? Which represented the highest honor of Chinese pop music? Chen Feier's opponents were not ordinary people. However, this highly anticipated prize was basically out of suspense from the beginning, and the result seemed to have been doomed long ago. The Chinese pop music world in 2016 belonged to Chen Feier. This was the headline of a very influential domestic media article 2 months ago. Although it was slightly exaggerated, it was also based on facts and was not excessive flattery. 2016 was the year of transformation for Chen Feier, which was extremely important for the Queen of Sweet Songs, who had made her debut for more than 10 years. Before the release of her new album, she was facing a bottleneck and dilemma in her career. Although her popularity was still high, her fans were constantly losing. As early as last year, Chen Feier's position in the music industry was a little awkward. She couldn't get rid of the shackles of her past style, but it was difficult for her to transform. In desperation, she could only develop in variety shows. At that time, she served as a judge of Singing China, based on the needs of various development. Then Chen Feier met Lu Chen. Lu Chen created a new album for her called Woman Flower. Woman Flower was officially launched on April 16 this year. So far, the total sales of online digital, physical CDs and peripheral packages have reached more than 7 million. Setting the highest record of domestic record sales in the past decade, and some of them were even sold to many countries in Southeast Asia. Who else could be the best female singer but her? Although the curse of certain death appears from time to time, if the judges of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart will choose someone else for this award, the result will not be as simple as a public uproar. In fact, the jury of the Golden Melody chart did not want to make a big news to please the public. Chen Feier winning the Best Female Singer was expected. Chen Feier, who won the award, was also very excited. In her acceptance speech, she first routinely thanked the organizing committee, the judges and the team members, and then said, "I would also like to thank a gentleman here. Thank him for his tolerance, support, and love for me all this time." Everyone immediately understood who Chen Feier was talking about, and the cameraman at the scene gave Lu Chen a shot in time. Lu Chen, with a smile, stared at his girlfriend standing on the stage, his eyes full of tenderness. "It's worth paying the whole world to have you. Half of this award belongs to you." Chen Feier's last sentence caused a thunderous applause in the main hall of the National Grand Theatre, which also pushed the atmosphere of the scene to a climax. Chen Feier bowed to thank everyone. Her eyes sparkled with crystal tears, not because of the sadness of memories, but because of sweet joy. When she returned to her seat, Lu Chen gently held her hand. Chen Feier whispered, "It's up to you." After the Best Female Singer, the winner of the Best Male Singer was announced. The photos of the 5 nominees appeared on the big screen in the background. They were Lu Chen, Yu Ming, Wang Quanfeng, Xuan and Oh Younghan. Among them, Xuan is a famous singer from Taiwan, Oh Younghan is a singer from Hong Kong, and Yu Ming is a big figure in the domestic pop music industry. Only Wang Quanfeng is slightly less famous, but he also has 3 solo albums in hand. In terms of qualifications, they were all above Lu Chan, and their fame was not much less than Lu Chen's. A big shot like Yu Ming was above Lu Chan, and was undoubtedly Lu Chen's strongest competitor. Therefore, unlike the best female singer, the winner of the best male singer was still unknown. Chapter 524. Lu Chan, Yu Ming, Wang Quanfeng, Xuan and Ouyang Han. The 5 nominees for the best male singer of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart. In the Chinese music industry, which was full of talented people, male singers had always occupied more than half of the country. Therefore, no matter what music award, the best male singer was the most important and the most eye-catching. Therefore, in some music awards in previous years, there were even strange things that several male singers won the best at the same time. There was only one best male singer of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart. The main hall of the National Grand Theatre suddenly became very quiet. The 5,000 audience and guests all held their breath, waiting for the most important award to be announced. Even those who were watching the live broadcast of the music festival in front of their TVs and computers. Among the 5 singers who were nominated, Yu Ming was undoubtedly the most popular. The 40-year-old singer had a brilliant resume. In his more than 20 years of singing career, he had released a total of 15 solo albums and accumulated a total of more than 22 million album sales. He was undoubtedly one of the top figures in the domestic pop music industry. In terms of qualifications, prestige, fame, and connections, Yu Ming was firmly ahead of the other 4 competitors, including Lu Chan. Among the 5 nominees, Lu Chan was second only to Yu Ming in popularity. Xuan and Ouyang Han were not weak and had their own wonderful performances in 2016. However, they came from Taiwan and Hong Kong respectively. Participating in the highest domestic pop music evaluation was undoubtedly a loss of geographical location and social harmony. Of course, these 2 were still nominated for the Best Overseas Male Singer later. The overseas here mainly referred to the 3 special zones in Southeast Asian countries, and also included the Chinese people in Europe, America, Japan, and South Korea. It was a general concept. As for Wang Quanfeng, he was basically an accompaniment. Therefore, in the eyes of most people, the best male singer was mainly between Lu Chan and Yu Ming. Yu Ming's advantage was obvious, but he was not without weaknesses. In 2016, Yu Ming did not release a solo album. He only released 2 singles. Although both songs had topped the original music chart, compared with Lu Chen's proud achievements in the pop music industry, they were undoubtedly dwarfed. This made the Best Male Singer competition a huge suspense. Who would the judges of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart give more votes to? Everyone was waiting to see what would happen. The person in charge of revealing the answer was Lu Ning, the vice president of the Chinese Musicians Association. This highly respected and famous musician had always been concerned about the development of domestic pop music. The establishment of the Global Chinese Top Songs chart was inseparable from his strong support and promotion. In addition, Lu Ning was also the chairman of the Golden Melody Chart's judging panel. The panel of judges consisted of 72 judges, who were basically well-known figures in the industry. Some of them were great seniors of the pop music industry who had retired long ago, some were senior executives of the media and news circle, and some were famous music critics and educators. Impartiality, openness, and fairness were the principles of the judging panel of the Golden Melody Chart. Lu Ning was the cornerstone that guaranteed the 3 principles of the selection. He personally came to present the Best Male Singer Award, which fully demonstrated the importance and value of this award. In front of the 5,000 audience, the white-haired Lu Ning calmly opened the red envelope and took out the paper with the winner's name printed inside. The 7 cameras at the scene were all pointed at him. Lu Ning's gaze froze for 3 seconds as he stared at the unfolded letter. These 3 seconds felt like an eternity, making people wonder if something had gone wrong. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became heavy and oppressive. At this time, under the director's command, several cameras promptly focused on the 5 candidates. Yu Ming looked very calm with a smile on his face, but there was still a hint of nervousness in his eyes. Although he had won countless awards in the first 20 years of his singing career, the Best Male Singer Award in the first Global Chinese Top Songs chart had a completely different meaning. Lu Chan was calm and focused. His hand was tightly holding Chan Feier's hand. Obviously, his heart was different from what he looked like on the surface. Xuan, Ouyang Han, and the others were either nervous or excited, showing their strong expectations. Lu Ning slowly opened his mouth and said, 1. The best male singer of the global Chinese top songs chart is Lu Chun. The famous musician emphasized the last two words and enunciated them particularly clearly. His voice was transmitted through the microphone to the digital music processing equipment at the speed of light along the cable. Then, with the help of the high-fidelity sound system arranged around the hall, it was clearly transmitted to the 5,000 guests and the tens of millions of people in front of their televisions and computers. Lu Chun, the best male singer of the first global Chinese top songs chart, belonged to Lu Chun, a young singer who had debuted less than 2 years ago, and it also pushed him to the peak of the Chinese pop music world. It was a little incredible, but it was so reasonable. Looking back at the whole of 2016, there was really no more outstanding male singer than Lu Chun in the Chinese pop music world. The original works he created and sang had a deep impact on the whole music world. To a large extent, he reversed the original trend of a large number of domestic pop songs covering, plagiarizing and imitating European, American, Japanese, and Korean works. From the second half of 2015 to the first half of 2016, Lu Chun's works frequently appeared on the original music chart. His second album, The Ordinary Road, created excellent sales results. The first of the 10 works in the album was a fine work, and he became popular all over the country. Lu Chun deserved to win the Best Male Singer of the Year. Even those who didn't like him couldn't deny the achievements and popularity he had gained in the past year, and his contribution to the pop music world couldn't be ignored. Congratulations, Lu Chun. As Lu Chun's biggest competitor, Yu Ming, who lost this important award, was the first to stand up and applaud, sending his sincere congratulations to the winner. Although he was very sorry, he was not very disappointed, nor was he dissatisfied at all. Even if he had lost to a very young junior, he would not be able to do so, because Lu Chun's performance in 2016 was really too good. The voting result of the top songs charts judges was fair. Congratulations! Chun Fair first gave Lu Chun a big hug, full of joy. Then the guests and the audience stood up one after another, and the messy applause soon became neat, like a summer storm sweeping through the main hall of the National Grand Theater. Congratulations! Tan Hong, Liao Jia, and others sitting next to Lu Chun hugged Lu Chun one by one, patting him on the back to encourage and support him. Thank you. Thank you. Lu Chun didn't know how many blessings and congratulations he received along the way. This was his peak moment.